Over the next 3 days, an NFL dream is going to come true for 257 men. The NFL draft is finally here. Let's dive into it on today's Gold Standard podcast, brought to you by Prize Picks. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Gold Standard NFL Draft Live Show. I am Rob Stats Guerrera here with you for the next, 75 hours as we watch the NFL Draft. I'm so excited to be here with you. I will be alone for most of the night, but we are going to have a couple guests here. Kyle Posey of Niners Nation is going to stop by. Michelle Mauigoa, of course, of the Gold Standard podcast and the Analyst in the Armchair podcast, is going to stop by as well. And of course, I'll be here with you all night long, taking your questions, taking your comments as we count down to pick number 27 for our San Francisco 49ers. Full disclosure, voice is not 100%. We're going to give it a go. I will be here as long as I can. I got a beer to help wet the whistle, and we'll dive right into this. The Raiders are on the clock. The pick is officially in. We all know who it's going to be. We've known who it's going to be for months. It is only one man.
Mendoza!
Fernando Mendoza will be the number one pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. Like I said, we all knew it. He's the best quarterback in the class. They desperately need a quarterback in Las Vegas, among other things, right? Geno Smith experiment did not work last year by any stretch of the imagination. It is Mendoza. So like I always say, I'm honest with you. Here's generally how the night's going to go. We will see who the pick is. We'll see who it is together. And then I will go to my trusted draft sources. And if you don't know, my two trusted draft sources are the Dane Brugler draft guide and the Dieter and Hutch draft guide. So we'll see what they have to say about everything as we go along through the night. I believe the pick is in. Oh, man, doesn't it feel good to hear that noise again? It just does. It feels fantastic. Congratulations, Fernando Mendoza. You are the number one overall draft pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. So we can go to the draft simulator. Bam, put it in. Congratulations. The New York Football Jets are now on the clock. And look, I actually like a lot of the moves that the Raiders made this offseason, to be honest with you. I think they made some smart moves. Not all of them, but they did make some smart moves. And they're trying to build it up the right way. The Pete Carroll thing was never going to work out. No chance that Pete Carroll was going to lead this resurgence. That was always a short-term stopgap thing. Now they've got Clint Kubiak in there. They've drafted Fernando Mendoza, and you can hopefully try and build this thing up a little bit. Raiders fans have been desperate for something for so long. It's been so dark there. You know, the whole Brady resurgence was supposed to ignite this, era of Raiders football. It hasn't quite happened yet. And maybe Fernando Mendoza can help with that. I always love they're cutting to the Raiders draft room. Every draft room after every pick in the world, hugs, handshakes. It's it looks cool. But then when you look back, when you realize later that they're all if you draft a bust, it's what are we doing here? We're all hugging and hand pounding, and it looks completely different. But congratulations, Raiders fans. I hope it works out for you. Look, it's been terrible for a really long time if you're a Raider fan. Why not a little hope? Why not a little challenge for Patrick Mahomes in the AFC West, by the way? Let's take a look at what Dane Brugler's draft guide had to say about Mendoza. If I could actually get it up for a second. Hang on. I will throw it up right now. According to the Brugler draft guide, Mendoza, he will need to prove himself with more full field reads in the NFL, but his intuition, throwing accuracy, and play confidence are superpowers and will smooth his transition to the next level. He projects as a mid-level NFL starter and a more mobile version of Bernie Kosar. That is a fascinating comp right there from Dane Brugler. Full field reads, intuition, throwing accuracy, and play confidence. God, that sounds a lot like another quarterback I know of, doesn't it? I mean, I know I'm looking at everything through a 49ers lens here, but doesn't that kind of sound like a guy we know about in the Bay Area? Just say it. We got a super chat here from Speaker 1984. Yo, LFG, keep me distracted on my bike ride home. Bike ride home. Okay. Happy to do it. YouTube channel member for 27 months. Your wish is my command. Thank you very much. So the New York Jets are on the clock. There's still about 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go in that one. And for the Jets, like, do you even need to make a pick? Spin the wheel and just whatever position it lands on, take it, because you need it if you're the Jets. So the big kind of question for them, though, is Reese, the edge from Ohio State, or David Bailey, the edge from Texas Tech. Those seem to be the two players that most people think they're going back and forth on as we get into this draft. I obviously have no idea who they're going to take. I will just tell you this. One of my best friends on this planet is a Jets fan, and he texted me this morning, it's draft day, and he texted me the picture of the Jet fan just with his head in his hands. Have they showed the bad Jet pick montage on ESPN? They usually show it. Apparently the pick is in. But this Jet fan texted me and he said, can't wait to see whose NFL career we F up next. So that is how a lot of Jet fans, I think, are feeling about this pick in the draft. How about, oh man, Xerxes, the immortal, says, currently under a tornado warning, but I'm still here for the NFL draft. Well, stay safe, Xerxes. Let me just say that. But thank you for watching and spending part of your night with me. But I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. Duckett Stephen Duckett. I don't know why I changed the names on YouTube. Channel member says, as a California resident, F the Raiders simply because of their insufferable fan base. Okay. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. Kylo, member for 34 months. Thank you, Kylo. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, and Jacob Gordon says, hunker down, Xerxes. Please be careful, be safe. I know we have a long way to go here, but tell me, what are you thinking about? What pick do you, or what player, what position do you want the 49ers to take at 27? Are you watching these picks as they come off the board like, oh my God, we can't have this guy picked. Please let this guy keep falling. If there is somebody like that for you, leave it in the comments. We can talk about it, obviously. Benjamin, YouTube channel member, asks, what are the odds the 49ers trade out of the first round? I think they will if they can. The Jets draft pick is in. It is David Bailey. The edge from Texas Tech goes number 2 overall. Bam. Throw that on my draft board here. There you go. So Reese does not go to the New York Jets. He is there for the Arizona Cardinals. And this is interesting now. And I didn't mean to short shrift your question, Benjamin. I think they're going to try to either trade up to the teens or trade out of the first round. I don't know if there's going to be a player that they think is really worth the 27th pick in the draft. Remember, John Lynch said, we think there's about 20 guys that we give a first round grade to. So if that's what you think, are you really going to make a pick at 27? I don't know. We'll have to see what the 49ers do. But there you go. David Bailey to the New York Jets at number 2. Now you get to the Cardinals. Number 3. And, you know, I've been kind of following and paying attention to what the Cardinals people that I trust have been saying. And there's a lot of people that think they're going to take Jeremiah Love. There's a lot of people that don't want them to take Jeremiah Love simply because he's a running back. It does not have anything to do with the player. It has to do with the positional value of that spot. Sonny Styles is still there. Reese obviously is still there. Caleb Downs is still on the board. You've got your pick of some really good players. Even Ruben Bane, if that's your, flavor, so to speak, he's there for you too. A lot of people think this is where we could also get our first trade down of the night. I'll be fascinated to see who they pick. As a Niner fan, obviously, I'm not rooting for anyone's career to fail, but I certainly don't want them to get an impact player at number 3. I think we can all be honest about that. What's your level of confidence that the Cardinals are going to make a good pick here, everybody? Charbags, new YouTube channel member. Thank you very much. You get a fist pump. Shout out to all our YouTube channel members. You get priority comment response. You get custom emojis. You get membership badges as well. It's less than $3 a month. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody. Heineman on Twitch says, typical Jets, passing on the best player available in Reese. We don't know. I'm sure there are some Jet fans that just think it's going to be bad, whatever. Like this, red and gold blooded says, Cardinals are the same dumpster fire as the Jets. you pick when you make these bad picks over and over and over again, people just get their hope gets crushed and they just think we're going to make bad picks forever. There's a lot of 49ers fans that think that they will never have good draft picks again because they've had some rough drafts in the recent past. It hurts to hope and then get that hope crushed. So you just lose that hope after so many years. But you can't, if we can't be hopeful tonight, man, come on. If we can't be hopeful tonight, when are we going to be hopeful? Yeah, we could be wrong for having hope tonight. Maybe we will, but I would much rather have hope than just think everything's going to be bad all the time, doom and gloom. That's just not how I roll. By the way, I'm just seeing Adam Schefter with a tweet. The Jets have 3 coaches that were on Stanford's staff during David Bailey's time there. Thomas Merkel, assistant offensive line coach Al Netter, and offensive assistant Matthew Sargent. They added intel the Jets valued and helped with the pick. So there you go. That's a little bit of the Jets' reasoning. Stephen Duckett says, Rob, what's your confidence level that our Niners draft an impact player in the first? Okay, well, I wasn't going to get into this till later, but since you asked, Stephen, you kind of set me up perfectly, so thank you for that. The 49ers have one job, at least somewhere in this draft. You would think first round is obviously most likely, but they have one job. The one job is get an impact player, not a guy where you got to dig into the numbers and watch the film and be like, oh, actually, he is a really good player. I'm talking about somebody that comes in that is good from jump, that is changing games, that is changing the way the offense or the defense schemes the game. And I don't care what side of the ball it's on because you need them on both. But that is how the 49ers built this team. It was Kittle, 5th round, best tight end in the NFL, best tight end the 49ers have ever had, probably a Hall of Famer. It was Fred Warner in the 3rd round, best middle linebacker in the NFL, possibly a Hall of Famer if he continues playing well for a long time. Nick Bosa, top 3 pass rusher in the league. That you got impact, game-changing players. Deebo Samuel in the 2nd round, completely setting the tone and completely dictating how the defense has to prepare and cover him. That's what made the 49ers teams of the past so good. They didn't just have one of those guys. They had 5 or 6 of those guys all at the same time. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, right? That is what you need. Those guys, those players, we all know they're aging, right? They're getting older. The 49ers have been living off of those guys. They have been carried by those guys for an incredibly long time. More, honestly, a longer period of time than most star players carry their teams because that's how good they were. But time waits for no man. And those guys can only do it for so long. George Kittle's coming off an injury, and Bosa's coming off an injury, and Fred's coming off an injury. McCaffrey's coming off a 450 touch year. You have to replenish that stock. So that is your job. Nick Wagner had the column for ESPN, and he said the exact same thing, and I completely agree. That is your job. It's much easier said than done. I want to be completely fair about that. Much easier said than done. But that's your job if you're the 49ers. Star impact players. Don't give me high floor guy. No, I need game-changing players. Because the 49ers, we saw last season, they did not really have one other than McCaffrey. And he was pretty much all alone. They need game changers. All right, it looks like Roger Goodell is striding to the podium, so you know what that means. The Arizona Cardinals have made the pick. Is that what I'm seeing? It looks like it. If they've announced a trade, they haven't put anything on the TV screen. Let's see. It looks like it's Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame, is the 3rd pick. So the Cardinals do the thing that many Cardinals fans wanted them to do, but very, very polarizing. Running back, 3rd overall. He is the highest drafted running back since Saquon Barkley was picked by the Giants a handful of years ago. That was 2018. There was a 90% chance that Love went in the top 5, according to ESPN's draft day predictor. But congratulations, Cardinals fans. You get a new running back, a shiny new toy for whatever quarterback is going to be there. And I have no idea who that's going to be. But congratulations. You get Jeremiah Love. And the 49ers defense is going to have to deal with them. Hey, CJ West. Hey, Alfred Collins. Hey, Nick Bosa, Michael Williams, Fred Warner. There you go. You're going to have to tackle that guy. Jason in the chat said exactly the same thing. Damn it. Now we got to deal with him. Pretty much. But you know what? Yeah, other teams get good players too. You've got to do your part if you're the 49ers and respond in kind. Niner Street YouTube channel member says gold standard all day, baby. Thank you very much. Niner Angel 49. I agree with you. You're going back to what I was saying before. Whoever they pick has to be ready to be a starter right away. Yes, they have to at least be that level of good, right? Like you could have two really good linebackers who could both be starters and maybe one doesn't start because of whatever formation you're in to start the game. But you know the point. The point is draft somebody that's really good right away. George Kittle was amazing right away. Fred Warner, they like to say, well, Fred wasn't Fred. Yeah, but you know what? He was still really damn good. That's what we need. Now the Tennessee Titans are on the clock. Robert Saleh's Tennessee Titans. It's interesting. People said, oh, there's going to be a lot of trades in the first round. And I kept saying, I don't think there's going to be, because who wants to trade up in a draft that's not totally loaded? So far, we haven't had any. We thought maybe the Cardinals would be one. They obviously didn't get an offer that they think was worth taking. So far it is 1, 2, 3, Mendoza, Bailey, Love. Then we have Tennessee coming up at 4. The Giants at 5 with the first of 2 picks. The Browns with the first. I think they have 2 picks as well. Washington, the Saints, the Chiefs, and then the Giants again to round out the top 10. Tennessee needs a bunch of help too. Edge, linebacker, wide receiver, guard, running back. You can forget running back. There's no way they're taking that. But they're another team. Like spin the wheel, right? And just throw a dart, whatever. You'll find a need, except quarterback, basically, for Tennessee. So Robert Saleh's got his choice. Gabe Garoni, YouTube channel member, says glass of whiskey, 23 game against the Eagles on TV, gold standard coverage of the draft. Life is good. Yeah. Thank you, Gabe. That sounds like a hell of a night. Cheers to you, my friend. All right. Let's take a look. I'm just trying to scan Twitter. You got to forgive me here. I'm going to need a second as I'm trying to juggle all these different things. Apparently, Diana Rossini deleted her Twitter account. Oh, that story just keeps churning, doesn't it? I do think it's a little weird. I know this is a draft show, but just 2 seconds. Like people are like digging up tweets of Vrabel and Rossini from the past. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty clear that they had a relationship. So it is not surprising to see pictures of them together, right? Like if we're going to say that they had this relationship, of course, they're going to be together certain places. So it's not exactly a revelation. But anyway, that's my 5 seconds of work on that. Yeah, but I mean, look, you mentioned it for 2 seconds. People go crazy in the chat. Let's see. Philippe says ABC over the air is still about 30 seconds ahead of Stats YouTube Live. Yeah, sorry, I'm watching on my phone right now. So this probably doesn't sync up totally perfectly. I apologize that. But look, we're watching together, right? That's why we're here. We're here for the community. The real live draft is the friends we made along the way, right? All right. Let's talk about while we wait. Oh, the Tennessee pick is in. Okay. But while we talk about that, let's talk about the 49ers options, because I thought it was fascinating that basically yesterday, all of a sudden, all the national guys were like, nope, it's going to be Caleb Lamu. Florio had it Lamu. Peter Schrager had it Lamu. Todd McShay had it Lamu. A couple other people, somebody from CBS, somebody from NFL.com, Lamu. And I was like, damn, what do they know? Right? I've never seen it sort of coalesce like that, especially at 27. You don't know who's going to be there. Lamu may get picked, but all of a sudden, all the national guys started having one person in their final mock drafts. And we know when the 49ers leak, they generally leak it to national people, not local people. So that made me wonder, is Caleb Lamu going to be the pick? Now, everyone that has watched me knows I am not on the you must take an offensive lineman in the first round kick. I've never been on that train. You can take an offensive lineman in the first round. Yes, you don't absolutely have to. You don't have to take Caleb Lamu if he's there. You don't have to take a guard. But some people are on that train. They want to see offensive line in the first round. They don't care who it is. They don't care if they've ever, watched any film on him. They just want to see offensive line because Trent Williams is 38 years old. I have not been on that train, but there are people that are there. And if if you're on that train, then you're very happy with what you saw from the National Insiders for the past 24 hours or so. All right, here comes Roger Goodell. Let me get my draft window up here. All right, let's see. The Tennessee Titans select with the 4th overall pick, Tate, the wide receiver from Ohio State. Okay. The first wide receiver is off the board. They get a target for Cam Ward. You got to like that. If you're a Tennessee Titan fan, they're the skill players. I remember when the 49ers played them last year, and the skill players, it was like, who the hell is this guy throwing to? It was like nobody you've ever heard of before. So Tennessee needed an offensive playmaker. I was wondering if, Saleh was maybe going to stick to defense. Obviously, there's still a ton of good players. Sonny Styles is there. Arvell Reese is still there now, sitting there for the Giants if they want to take him. Obviously the Giants just traded Dexter Lawrence. They could throw in, Arvell Reese for an addition to their defensive line. Ruben Bane is still there. There were a lot of defensive players there for Saleh to take, but he goes offense with Tate, the wide receiver. Interesting. Good for Robert Saleh. Maybe he just got tired because he picked 1,000 defensive players for the 49ers last year. What was it, 4 straight? Congratulations. I like Robert Saleh. I know that, we all wanted him to stick around, but I do kind of like him a little bit. I know it didn't work out with the Jets. Hopefully it works out at least a little better with the Titans. But I agree with Anthony. Get the quarterback, the playmaker, 1,000%. Your 2 jobs as an organization: get a quarterback, keep a quarterback happy. That's how I simply boil it down. How do you do that? Keep a quarterback happy, good playmakers around him, fortify the offensive line, and if you can get a good defense, yes, but playmakers and an offensive line, that's how you do it. Cam Ward showed some flashes last year. He did a lot of good things for the Titans last year. There were a lot of Tennessee fans saying, can we please just get this guy some help? That's what they did. Cam Ward, 3,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, when's the last time a quarterback that started every game threw 15 touchdowns in a season, right? That tells you the dearth of options that he was working with. I know when it comes to Brock Purdy, we like to pretend that it's all about the people around him, and you got to have people around him. You have to. Otherwise, you're really putting a limiter on what that guy can do. And so Tennessee's trying to get past that, right? They're trying to build it up. And good for Tennessee. I don't blame him. Chris Waddell, thank you for the super chat. Chris says, Rob, long time no live. I know, Chris, we've missed you. Welcome back. Ton of traveling, but happy draft day. Still listen every day. Have you settled on someone you want? Draft crush. I do have a couple of draft crushes, but they're not first round guys. It's Sam Roush, the tight end from Stanford, who I think they could maybe get in the 4th round or maybe even later. He's a 6'6" tight end. He's a solid receiver. He's a good blocker. Obviously a huge dude. I would love it if they took him. I guess if I had to say my draft crush, I would say Sadiq from Oregon. I don't think he's going to be there for the 49ers at 27, but if he is there, I think they absolutely need to take him. So I guess you could say that. But other than that, who's the other guy? Eli Heidenreich out of Navy. He's like a running back, wide receiver, like a scat back type guy, but he's projected to go way late. I'm trying to see. He was somewhere in the 200s, maybe even later. Oh, he might even be listed as a wide receiver, actually. But yeah, he's somebody that I just, watched some clips on YouTube. He looks awesome. There he is. 183. He's listed as a wide receiver, but he was really a running back that they used like a wide out at Navy. But he's another guy that I love, but that would be much, much, much later. Certainly not tonight. Under no circumstances is he going to get picked tonight. So, he'll adapt to reading says, love this for Cam Ward. Glad Bobby's looking out for his quarterback over his defense. Yeah, look, it takes everything, right? And God knows Tennessee had needs. And I think you got to the point where you're watching Cam Ward and you're just like, we have to do better around him. Once you think you've got a quarterback that can play, every decision you make as a franchise has to be, are we making our quarterback better? Yes or no? If we aren't, then we're doing it wrong. Honestly, that's what I would tell you. And I said the same thing when the Niners drafted Trey Lance. It was the same thing. everything that you do has to be to put that guy in a position to succeed. It has to, because that's how the organization's built and function in the NFL. So there you go. It is 35 minutes after the hour. We are 4 picks in. The next 4 on the clock: the Giants, the Browns, the Commanders, and the Saints are the next 4. Giants, of course, have 2 first-round picks. The Browns have, I think the Browns also have 24. So they have 6 and 24. And Washington is there, and the Saints as well. I'm wondering here, I could see the Giants splitting their 2 picks between defense and offense. I'm just trying to think, if you're the Giants, do you go Arvell Reese here? And then maybe at 10, you pick a wide receiver that you like, or maybe you go offensive line. But I wonder if we get Arvell Reese here. Do you get Sonny Styles? I mean, if you're Cleveland, Reuben Bane is sitting there too. Can you imagine Reuben Bane with Myles Garrett? There are some interesting possibilities here down the stretch. I shouldn't say down the stretch. We're early in the draft, but you know what I'm saying. In the next few picks is what I mean. Or if you're the Giants, I mean, they're probably not going to go Sadiq at 5 because that would seem to be a little high. But I mean, the Giants, can you imagine if they did? Then you would have Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo when he comes back, Malik Neighbors when he comes back. You throw Sadiq in there, and all of a sudden you're like, holy hell, the Giants got an offense. They got some dudes there. So, I mean, and then Giants could add a stud pass rusher and a stud offensive player in this draft. That's why I think the Dexter Lawrence trade was phenomenal for them. Phenomenal. Dexter Lawrence is a really good player, yes, and it's hard to get impact defensive tackles, yes, but he wasn't going to play for them. They didn't want to pay him the money. He was approaching, I think he's 28, so approaching 30, and you can get the 10th overall pick for him. You absolutely have to do it. Absolutely. John Harbaugh has put himself in a really good position there in New York. Let's get to some of your super chats. Chris Waddell says his draft crush is Indiana wide receiver Elijah Surratt. The other wide receiver, the not Omar Cooper, the guy that actually, I believe led the FBS in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Where do they have, just out of curiosity? This is the Pro Football Draft Simulator that I'm looking at, in case you're ever wondering. They have him listed as the 72nd overall player. So that'll be interesting. I got to tell you, Omar Cooper looked really fascinating to me, too. I would not be upset about that at all. People are saying that Kansas City has traded up. Is this true? The freaking Chiefs? I was totally good with the Chiefs just missing the playoffs. Like, come on, man. Now they're being aggressive. Remember, Kansas City has 2 first-round picks, so they had some options there if they wanted to trade up. The Chiefs are on the clock at 6. The Browns get pick 9, pick 74, and pick 148 overall. That doesn't seem like that much. Look, Kansas City's only moving up 3 spots. So we have a trade now. It is the Kansas City Chiefs, which now that I think about it, my draft simulator is not going to be able to change unless, you know what? Aha. Let's see if I can do this in real time. Here we go. Wait, did the Giants pick already? Yeah, okay. So the Giants picked and the Chiefs are 6. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to play catch up here. So they haven't announced the Giants pick as far as I know. All right, so we'll get this all sorted out here. Nick Ellert says, what if the 49ers draft Eli Heidenreich as their wide receiver and running back in the 4th round? Great. I'd be totally fine with that. But I don't really know his value. I just really like him as a guy. Okay, so the Giants have taken Arvell Reese. Congratulations, New York Giants. You get arguably a top 3 player, and you get him at pick 5, and you get him without having to move up at all. Like I said, the Giants trade Dexter Lawrence, so they had to add to the defensive line. They do that. They get Arvell Reese. Good job. All right, now let's see if I can finagle this trade on the actual simulator here so that my draft board doesn't get all messed up. The Browns get 9, 74, and 148. 974, 148. Bam. Done. Look at that. How do you like that? Beautiful. All right. So Kansas City, where do they go? Edge, corner, tackle, tight end, wide receiver. Where do they want to go? Are they? I got to think they're going to go defense because they weren't that much lower on the poll. You think they're going wide receiver? Maybe they're going Mekhi Lemon. Could they be going Jordan Tyson, perhaps? See, I think Kansas City probably was worried about somebody scooping up somebody that they were going to get. And so they just said, forget it. Let's just move up. We'll make the trade, and we'll be on the clock. Kansas City has 3 minutes left. Benjamin says, Kansas City picking a kicker, please, please, please. Benjamin, I appreciate the enthusiasm and the sentiment, but yeah, I don't think that is going to be happening. Ross says Rob is so far behind. All right. Well, sorry. I'm doing the best that I can here, man. I apologize. The Chiefs pick is in. I'm watching on my phone here. Okay. So, I'm not following on Twitter, but I am watching on the phone. By the way, now that the Cardinals have taken Love, you got to think that they will be taking Ty Simpson at some point in this draft. Could they be trying to trade up at the bottom of the first round to get Ty Simpson? So they can get that extra 5th year if they want it. So it's Kansas City now, Washington, New Orleans, and Cleveland. Ross says, you're great, just having a little fun. Hey, it's hard to juggle everything, all right? So Kansas City is on the clock now. They make the first trade. Kansas City not giving up anything next year. See, that was the other part of this too, was I didn't know how many trade ups there were going to be because nobody wants to touch picks for next year because next year's draft is supposed to be so amazing and so overwhelmingly good that nobody wanted to do that. So it's like, all right, well, then if I only have this year to work with, that's sort of a constraint here. And that kind of confines you and prevents maybe some deals from getting made. But again, we've already got the first trade of the night. So there you go. Chris Sims is celebrating the Arvell Reese to the Giants. Just stockpiling badass mofos, Chris tweeted. The best stand-up linebacker in the draft and probably the best edge rusher, too. Woo. Got to be happy if you're a Giant fan. This is not the Daniel Jones, oh, no, pick for the Giants. This is Arvell Reese, a much, much, much highly rated player. So again, some would say one of the top 2 defensive players in the entire draft, and the Giants get him at 5. Jets could have taken him. Obviously, they chose not to. Vish Bell points out Chiefs are probably getting a corner to replace McDuffie. That's true. The pick is in for the Chiefs, so we haven't seen it yet. Scott says, I'm glad Rob's behind because I am too. Watching on my PC, Rob is synced up perfect. There you go. Appreciate it. So I got to say right now things are going in terms of players. Obviously we had to trade up, but in terms of players, nothing crazy for me. Nothing we didn't already expect. No one is really falling. I guess you could say Reese fell a little bit, but when you go top 5, like, did you really fall? Still, if you're a guy that wants wide receiver, still a lot of good guys on the board for the 49ers. Only one wide receiver taken so far, and that was Tate. You want those guys to keep on. You want the 49ers to be the beneficiary of some sort of run. If it's a run on offensive linemen, maybe you get a really good wide receiver. If it's a run on linemen and receivers, maybe some of the good safeties are there in the first round, or maybe some of the better edge players are still there, although this is a deeper draft for edge guys. That's when you're picking so far down in the first round. I think that's what you have to hope for if you're the 49ers. So let's see, as Roger Goodell is walking out to the podium. Pick number 6 in the NFL draft for the Kansas City Chiefs is Mansour Delane. So corner comes off the board as well from LSU. The Chiefs had to replenish their secondary after they traded McDuffie, and they lost Waddle too, I believe. They needed a corner. They move up. They get Mansour Delane from LSU. It makes perfect sense. You could say it was a need. It absolutely was. But you know what? He is the number 1 graded corner for Dane Brugler in his draft guide. So I am not shocked to see Kansas City take him. If you want to see what it says about Mansour Delane, we can take a look together. An alpha competitor who projects as a starter despite his average size, just out of curiosity. 5'11", basically 6 feet, 30-inch arms, 74.5-inch wingspan, mid-cut body type with adequate size and speed profile, quick-footed and controlled, smooth hip action, doesn't labor in transitions, situationally aware, and reads the quarterback's drops among some of the strengths. Let's see what else Dane says. Plays with the route anticipation and temperament to stay attached in coverage and squeeze catch windows. He projects as a starting outside NFL corner with the skill set to move inside over the slot. Mansour Delane. I just want to make sure I got that right. I always try to get the names right, as you know. It makes sense. Kansas City, they go Mansour Delane. They take the corner. Good for you, Kansas City Chiefs. You needed it. Now, that puts the Washington Commanders on the clock, and apparently the pick is already in for the Commanders. This is what I like. Let's keep this moving. If you know who you want, your person is there, you make the pick, and you move in. That's exactly how I like it when my fantasy drafts get run. Let's keep it moving here. These teams have had how many weeks and months to plan and pick? If you're in the top 10, it's pretty simple. You have an idea of who's going to be there. You have all your guys ranked. Bam, bam, bam. I like it. Now, if you want to wait a little while to see if you get any trade offers, great. But if you know you don't want to trade down, just take the guy. The way it usually works is teams like to be talked about by the NFL, by ESPN, by ABC. They have the draft on somewhere in their draft room on one of the screens. They like to be talked about, especially if you're a team at the top of the draft that's been crappy and was crappy all year last year and didn't get a lot of airtime. So sometimes they just chill, even though they have the pick, and they wait. Glad to see that wasn't the case with the Commanders. Oh, I like this comment. Jason says, Commanders select Brandon Ayuk eventually. I wouldn't give it a 0% chance. I think that if it happens, it'll probably happen on Saturday. And it'll be, a very, very low round draft pick. That's fine. I know Ayuk tweeted or posted something on Instagram lately. Great, whatever. But if it happens, that's when it's going to happen. And at this point, like I said, I just want to get it over with. I really do. Let me give a little love to our YouTube channel members. We always throw your names scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Thank you, all of our YouTube channel members. Again, I try to acknowledge you every single show because I could not do this without you. So thank you again for letting me live the dream. Like I said, we're going to be joined by Kyle Posey from Niners Nation a little bit later tonight, and Michelle Majuk as well, who hosts a show with me on Friday. She and I will do our regular show tomorrow, reacting, obviously, to the 49ers and their pick. But she'll join us tonight as well. Michelle's also a researcher for, I guess now ESPN, but she was a researcher for NFL Network. So she's been diving into this draft left, right, and center for weeks and weeks and weeks as well. So excited to hear her response eventually when the 49ers do get the pick. Okay, Roger Goodell is walking to the podium. Is that Jerome Bettis? Oh, we got to start with these friggin' draft. Like, just say the name. Just say the name. Really? I don't want to hear from anybody else. This is the only time all year I want to hear from Roger Goodell. You have the card. Do the card. Say the name. That's all we need from you, Roger. I don't need to see Jerome Bettis and the legends of the franchise up there. I really don't. But they got to make it a big event. They're talking about, what are they, man of the year? Yeah, great. Sorry. I know there's a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff, but I just want to know the names. We've been waiting for this for so long. Just tell us, Roger. I may have to go to Twitter for this one. I am not a Twitter spoil the draft guy. I don't like it. I like the drama. I like the unknown of it all. I think it's kind of cool. And so I try to stay off Twitter when these picks are being made, but sometimes when they do silly stuff like this, I remember Mike Mayock was like, if we go to one more stupid thing, I'm walking off the set, because day 2, day 3, they're like going to zoos and doing all sorts of stuff. All right, the pick is in. Washington takes Sonny Styles, another defensive player off the board. Linebacker from, Ohio State is having a good night. They go 7. they go 5, they go 4. So 3 of the top 7 picks were Ohio State Buckeyes, and Caleb Downs is still on the board. I'm sure he's going to go somewhere in the top 10 as well. So the Washington Commanders try to beef up that defense a little bit. They get a guy that, as far as I can tell, pretty much has like no flaws in Sonny Styles. Also, like, not going to lie, has a really good linebacker name. Freaky athlete on track to be an impact linebacker. That is exactly what you want to hear when you take somebody with a top 10 pick. Dane Brugler says Styles is an outstanding size speed athlete who's comfortable in space, reacts well to what he sees, and plays with the physicality to mark up the stat sheet. With elite sub package value, he has the talent to become an impact linebacker in the NFL early in his career. That is what you want at number 7. I'm sure Commanders fans are going to be over the moon. He's 6'5", 244 pounds, and runs a 4.46 40-yard dash as a linebacker. He reached 22.69 miles per hour during his 40-yard dash at the combine. That is absurd, freakish, terrifying speed from a man that big. That is absolutely insane. I am sure, let me say, the Dieter and Hutch draft guide, they always have, let's just say, interesting analyses of linebackers. Let's see what it says, Sonny Styles. Maybe the truth if all goes right. An absolute physical freak who continues to redefine the modern linebacker position with uncoachable movement ability, who learns ideally from a vet. The downside, if it doesn't work out, they say he's not a natural linebacker and is a little lean. Not sure he packs a proper wallop and may face a case of in-betweenism. But man, if that's the worst thing that happens, like, that's still pretty good. Jake Hutchinson says Styles possesses incredible athleticism but struggles with his processing, allows hands to put on him way too easily, frequently gets caught up at the second level and takes loopy routes to the ball. I just don't think the football instincts are necessarily there. Maybe that's pessimistic. Despite his flaws and not being a total natural linebacker, he's clearly a first-round talent, and you have to draft him purely based on his physical upside. The tape isn't that damning either. He flies to the ball, and when it's clear, hell yeah, brother. So they were actually a little lower on him than I thought they were going to be. But I would be happy if again, when you see the words elite, impact, that's what you're talking about. And it's okay to take big swings in the top 10. I would rather take a big swing on a guy and whiff than take a guy with a very high floor. To me, a high floor pick is Solomon Thomas. That was a high floor pick by the 49ers. Everybody was like, oh, this guy's can't miss. And you know what? He wasn't a bust. He's been in the NFL since he was taken. He was a disappointment, but he wasn't a bust. A bust is somebody that can't play in the league. You took Solomon Thomas because this was the low end of what we were supposed to see, is what he is, right? A solid starter, a rotational defensive lineman. That's great. And congratulations, Solomon Thomas. I'm not trying to ding you at all, but if I'm taking a guy top 10, I want super high ceiling. So maybe Sonny Styles, it doesn't all work out, but if it does, he's going to be a monster. He's going to be a monster. 6'5", moving like that. That's the swing I would want my team to take personally. Stephen Duckett says, what planet is Styles from? I don't know, Stephen. And what do we do if they decide to send more? Hopefully they can come out next year in the draft. Heineman says, Stats, are you excited to hear Andy Lee announce the Niners second-round pick tomorrow? I can't wait, Heineman. I may just stream it live. Screw the demonetization. I'm going to stream it live, damn it. The New Orleans Saints are now on the clock. Their pick is in. I don't know what to think of the Saints, to be honest with you. I think people are way too high on Tyler Shuck. I know that he showed flashes last year, but I feel like people are like, well, they got their quarterback now. It's like, well, hold on. This guy wasn't even good enough to be a first-round pick last year. Now you're saying you're declaring him a franchise guy? He started 11 games. He had 10 touchdown passes. Certainly fine. I'm not trying to bag on him. But again, I'm not just saying, well, they don't need a quarterback. They got their guy. They're good. Like, you know my thing. 2 years. I need to see 2 years of solid production. Oh, by the way, Tyler Shuck is already 26. He's going to be 27 in September. Damn. He's an older player. Now, it doesn't really matter because he's a quarterback. He could play till he's 40. But I'm just, yeah. pump the brakes on that one and Tyler Shuck. But if you're the Saints, you get edge, wide receiver is an option, corner, guard, tight end, all different options. Caleb Downs is sitting there, man. I know that, I mean, he seems like a stud player. I know safety isn't expressly listed as some of these teams' needs, but damn. John Lynch said it in his press conference, like, you never go wrong just taking really good football players, right? Like, I don't know. Not saying, just saying. Maybe just don't worry about the positions as much. Brisbee Life says, not even an hour in, and Rob's getting rebellious with TOS. I'm rebellious all the time, baby. Chris Waddell, thank you for the super chat again. Every time a guy gets drafted based on physical alien stuff, reminds me of that Texas safety from 100 years ago that was huge and fast, but ended up sucking. The Texas safety, are you thinking Roy Williams? I'm not sure who you're thinking of. I'm old enough to remember the Niners taking Taylor Mays, who was, in terms of physical specimens, like as good as you could possibly be, was an absolute monster of a human being and an athlete, but was not a very good safety. So, yeah, you can have all the physical traits in the world and it doesn't guarantee anything, but, you know, they're not the worst thing in the world to bank on either. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. You're watching the 49ers Gold Standard live draft show. If this is your first time checking us out, thank you so much. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We do live shows every single weekday. We'll be live all 3 days of the draft. Please give us some of your time. I promise you will like what you see. Again, Kyle Posey of Niners Nation is going to stop by. Michelle Madjuk of The Analyst in the Armchair, NFL.com, our show as well, going to hop on with me. So it won't just be me jabbering at you from now until the end of the night. I think they're going to join a little closer to the 49ers pick. So we will have their reaction as well. Let's see. We got Saints, Browns, Giants again. Man, the Giants are set to have such a good day. Sorry, I know I've been talking about them a lot. How do you feel about what the NFC teams have done? Obviously, these are teams the 49ers are going to have to contend with. When we take a look at it, Jeremiah Love, everybody says he's a really good player. There's not really a question there. The question is, how much impact can a running back have on a bad team? We saw Ashton Genty with the Raiders last year. Didn't really do much. Not trying to say Love won't do a lot, but sometimes they need some help. Arvell Reese goes to the Giants. I think the Giants are going to be a problem, quite honestly. They are shaping up, and now they got a good head coach and not a potato. The Giants are going to be a problem. Commanders, I think they got a ways to go, but Sonny Styles certainly looks like he could be a good player. So I'm not going to crap on that, but the Giants are really starting to make me nervous when it comes to the NFC because all the Giants' good players are super young, right? That's not the case with the 49ers. The Giants seem like they could be an up-and-coming team. Now, if Jackson Dart doesn't learn to protect himself, it won't matter. And maybe if they don't change the turf in that stadium, it won't matter. But, all right, the New Orleans Saints are up. And they are going wide receiver Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Congratulations, New Orleans. Not shocking that they take a wide receiver there. And a lot of people like Tyson from the Sun Devils. Congratulations, New Orleans Saints. Let's get a little breakdown of Jordan Tyson again from Dane Brugler, an elite ball catcher who evokes Stephon Diggs and likely an NFL starter. Ooh, likely an NFL starter. Tyson's injury history is concerning, but on the field, he's a sleek, twitched-up athlete who can create his own separation and win outside his frame at the catch point. He projects as an NFL starter, inside or outside, with a skill set that reminds me of Stephon Diggs. Now, Stephon Diggs is a really good wide receiver, no doubt about it. He is not Calvin Johnson, Odell Beckham Jr. type of guy. So is that, again, who you want with a top 10 pick? I don't know. Tyson had a devastating knee injury at Colorado in 2022. Then he transferred to Arizona State, and he was really, really good over those 2 seasons. He was leading the Big 12 in almost every receiving category through 8 weeks, and then got sidelined by another injury. He missed 34% of his team's games over the past 4 years due to various injuries. Now, look, that doesn't guarantee anything when it gets to the NFL, but it's certainly a scary trend, and there aren't a lot of guys. There are some, but there aren't a lot of guys that get healthier when they get tackled by bigger, stronger, faster players. Frank Gore was a guy that got hurt a lot in college, got hurt his first couple years in the NFL, and then was never hurt. Those guys are rare. That would be scary. And also, there are guys, and the 49ers know this well, who never get hurt in college and get to the NFL and are hurt all the time. Ricky Pearsall is a guy that's had a lot of trouble staying healthy in the NFL. He never missed a game in college. So you don't know, but that certainly would be scary. Obviously, the Saints think it's worth the risk. Daniel Garcia says, I don't want Mekhi Lemon with the Lambs. The Rams are going to be good. I hate to break it to you, but the Rams are going to be good no matter who they pick. Like, they have a good coaching staff. They have a great quarterback right now. They're going to find a way. I mean, honestly, the guy I don't want the Rams to get is Sadiq. I know they have a bunch of tight ends, but I don't want them to have a tight end that runs a 4.39. McVay doesn't need the help. All right. The Cleveland Browns are up at 9. Their pick is already in. We're seeing some teams with some decisive action. There we go. The Browns pick is in, so the Giants are on the clock. That would be 10 picks into this thing as we inch closer to the 49ers pick at 27. Browns got some options now. Cleveland took, who did they take earlier? I can't remember. I can't believe I forgot already. Oh, they traded. That's right. They traded with Kansas City. That's why I can't remember. The Browns do love to trade down. Barry loves to trade down. Caleb Downs still there on the board. They can go offensive line. Reuben Bane Jr. is still there. Man, a chance to pair him again with Myles Garrett, I think, would be fascinating. That Mekhi Lemon is there. Monroe Freeling, Sadiq, obviously. And then you get into Omar Cooper, possibly. Cleveland's got some options. Meanwhile, the Giants are just sitting there like, yeah, whoever you want to pick, we don't really care. Vish says the Rams are coming up at 13. Please, no weapons. They're probably going to get a weapon. I mean, I hate to spoil it for you, but just like Mekhi Lemon, Omar Cooper Jr., Casey Concepcion, Boston, all there. The Rams are going to get one of those guys. I doubt that's going to be the next 3 picks off the board. So if they want a weapon, they'll be able to get one, unfortunately. And again, not that they need the help. Benjamin says, I think the Rams need a long snapper, right? Yeah, and I kind of agree with Timmy Boy. I think there's a good chance the Rams go offensive line just because Stafford's injury history. And again, you can never go wrong going offensive line. And they've got Puka Nacua. They've got Devontae Adams. They've got the 3 tight ends. So I could see them going offensive line. And they did an excellent job of protecting Stafford last year. I think that back was a lot iffier than people realized. And the offensive line, and Stafford's tough as hell, too. I should point that out. But they did an awesome job. Even against a team like Seattle, they were fantastic. But I think they understand the assignment. That's the scariest part about the Rams. They understand the assignment. I don't like when my team's division opponents are smart and good and understand what they're doing. That's why I liked it when the Cardinals had the previous coaching staff, because it was like, they're never going to get this right. They're never going to get it right. All right, the Cleveland Browns are up. Goodell is at the podium with the pick. The Cleveland Browns are going with Spencer Fano from Utah. All right, we've got an offensive lineman off the board. It makes sense. You need to protect your quarterback. So I know Cleveland, there's been a lot of Browns fans that were begging them to take the sexy skill player, but you got to protect your quarterback too. And, they think they have a quarterback, either Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders or whoever it is in Cleveland. They want to give that guy more time. So that is crazy that the first tackle off the board, I don't know if I had that one going, but there you go. Cleveland Browns. First offensive lineman off the board. Now I think we may start to see a run. This is probably where we're going to see some offensive linemen come off the board. You've got some options there. Freeling is there. Is it Mauigoa? Sorry, I had written it down. It is Mauigoa. Sorry, Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. It is Spencer Fano was just taken by the Browns. Sorry about the pronunciation there. And the Giants pick is already in. So the Giants are not screwing around. They have known what they have wanted to do. The Giants pick is in. Gameplan.exe. This is the area of draft day that kills me. Can we just sim to pick 20? Yeah, I know. It's hard to wait, right? Like at this point last year, we were like, all right, the Niners are on the clock. Here we go. Now it's like, wait, how many? 17 more picks? It's difficult to wait. It's difficult to wait, but wait, we got no choice. All right, Goodell's already at the podium with the Giants pick. And it's Francis Mauigoa. So there we go. Offensive lineman back to back. I said there was going to be a run. Bam. There it is for the New York Giants. So they are bolstering the lines of scrimmage. They go Reese at 5. They go Mauigoa, at 10. John Harbaugh knows how he wants to build his team. Old school coach. He's old school. He's going on the lines of scrimmage. Like I said, if you're the Giants, you already have your quarterback, you think. You already have your running back. You already have a wide receiver that you really like in Malik Neighbors. You drafted a defensive player with your earlier pick at 5. Now you build the offensive line. I really do think the Giants are going to be a problem relatively quickly in the NFC East. I would not put it past the Giants to win that division this year. Now, obviously, some of that depends on how Cam Scatterboot can come back, but even if it takes him a little time, again, if Jackson Dart can stay healthy, they're putting some pieces together there in New York. And the Niners are going to have to play the Giants. They're going back to New York this season. We don't know when, but we'll get an up-close and personal view of the Giants. And Mauigoa and Reese, we'll get an up-close and personal view of these guys. I wouldn't be shocked if that was a playoff matchup as well later in the year. So we are through 10 picks in the NFL draft. Let's just recap. Mendoza to the Raiders, David Bailey to the Jets, Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals, Carnell Tate to the Titans, Arvell Reese to the Giants at 5, Mansour Delane goes to Kansas City at 6, who traded up with the Browns, Sonny Styles 7 to the Commanders, Jordan Tyson 8 to the Saints, Spencer Fano 9 to the Browns, and Francis Mauigoa 10 to the New York Giants. That puts the Miami Dolphins. Wait a minute. Did the Cowboys trade up? I think the Cowboys traded up because they're on the clock and their pick is in. So that's interesting because we had heard that the Cowboys could trade up, or at least I had heard during the draft that they were willing to move up. So we'll wait on the trade from the Dallas Cowboys, but they are up and their pick is in. So they saw somebody they wanted and they are not messing around. Now the question is, who is it going to be? You would think it would be defense. Maybe it's Caleb Downs. Maybe they were like, you know what? We can't believe this guy fell this far. We really love him. Our defense really needs some help. They were a disaster last year. The Cowboys defense was putrid. They turned every quarterback they faced into a friggin' all-pro. They desperately need help on defense. And maybe they just didn't want to wait. They were worried about somebody else leapfrogging them. Maybe the Ravens possibly. I don't know. But Jerry Jones trades up and the pick is in for the Dallas Cowboys. Has to be. I would be gobsmacked if this is an offensive player. The Cowboys traded up. Let's see. The Dolphins get 12, 177, and 180. Let's see. Dolphins. I will do this now. Cowboys, Dolphins. Bam. 12, 11, and they give up 112, 177, and 180. Is that what I just said? Yep. How about the memory on me? Boom. Now we wait and see. It's got to be a defensive player. Has to be. You know Jerry likes to make waves. Did you see Bill Clinton was in the Cowboys pre-draft press conference? Like, what other team does that happen to other than the Dallas Cowboys? Some would say they're a little too concerned about stuff like that and not concerned enough about the football, but here we go. Cowboys are up on the clock. They could go Ruben Bane. You know, they need a stud pass rusher after the Micah Parsons trade. Bane could potentially be that, if assuming the arm thing is not really a problem in the NFL. Other than that, or Caleb Downs, obviously. But then you're looking defensive players. Thieneman, I guess, but I don't know if you would trade up for him. There doesn't seem to me to be somebody that you would move up for. It has to be one of those two guys. And they must have really liked one of them because they didn't want to wait and just take whoever Miami didn't take. They wanted a specific guy. So we have to wait and see what the Cowboys are going to do. I'm not seeing the picks tipped on Twitter, I have to say. Kind of excited about that. Like I said, I like to hear the commissioner say it. So there you go. We'll have to wait and see. They went to a commercial. God, I was just looking back. It feels like they go to a commercial before the Niners pick every year, doesn't it? Maybe that's just me and I'm biased, or if I don't notice the years that they don't, but I feel like they always go to a commercial every year before the Niners pick. There's nothing worse than that. There is nothing worse than when you are sitting there and finally your team is on the clock. You get through all the other crap and all the weird announcements from the podium and every other team's pick, and then they go to commercial. Sometimes you don't even get to hear Goodell announce the pick. It is the worst. It is the worst. Anthony says everybody put their pick spoilers behind a paywall. Great. Good. Keep them there. Benjamin says last year they went to a commercial right after the Niners pick and then gave no background on the pick. Again, that's frustrating too. Do we really need commercials during look, we're going to get commercials, obviously, but we wait so long for this as a fan. All you want is to hear your pick, and then you want to hear Mel, and then Mel Kiper give the pick, or McShay, or Charles Davis, or whoever it is. All of them. Honestly, I like to go back and forth. Before I used to do a show on draft day, I used to watch one channel's draft and tape the other one. I would record the other one, and then after the draft was over, I would go back and watch what they said about the 49ers on the other channel. Now you don't really have to do that because they're on YouTube, but of course you want to hear the analysis. Absolutely. So when they go to a commercial, it's a killer. Let's see if I can find it on Twitter. I don't think I'm going to be able to because I haven't been able to find any of the other picks ahead of time. Apparently, Jeremiah Love is going to get the most guaranteed money for a rookie running back on their first contract, $53.9 million, because he's the third overall pick. Good for you. That may be the only one that you get if you Jeremiah Love as a running back. So there you go. Timmy says, never forget when Nikola Jokic got picked during a Taco Bell commercial. I kind of feel like that's fitting. Okay, so yeah, they're just putting the details of the trade up on the ESPN feed now. Like we said, 3 picks going back to Miami in exchange for this 1 pick. And if you're the Dolphins, we didn't really talk about it from the Dolphins side. To move down 1 spot, yeah, I'll take whatever you're offering, Dallas. Like, great. Moving down 1 spot, awesome. That's a bonus for me. And you can't be too upset about anybody the Cowboys pick because you could have picked them and you decided that you weren't worried about losing anybody. So from the Dolphins' perspective, it is a home run. And there is the pick for the Cowboys. Not surprisingly, Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State. I believe he's the 4th Ohio State player to be taken in the top 11 picks. Like we said earlier, the Cowboys desperately need help on that defense. Everything we have heard about Caleb Downs is that he is absolutely like the game-changing, culture-changing type of player that so many teams try to get in their building. If you go to the Dane Brugler draft guide and you read about Caleb Downs, I'll throw it up on the screen, an elite tackler who did not allow a touchdown for 2 years, a surefire NFL starter, 21 years old. Downs sees the field like it's a chessboard and plays with an exceptional combination of intelligence, urgency, and toughness, allowing him to be disruptive from anywhere on the field. His intangibles and on-field versatility will make him an impactful starter early in his career. He is, some people say, the smartest defender in the draft. You can see the little video there from The Athletic. Some of the strengths: rangy physical presence and drops the hammer on arrival. Full speed tackler with outstanding balance. Wraps, keeps his eyes before his feet and accelerates through the target. Quick to read keys, dissects route combinations. I mean, man, everything you could possibly want. Veteran level communication skills. Obviously, that was big. Didn't allow a passing touchdown in 2 seasons at Ohio State, almost 900 snaps. What a monster. And how about this? And especially for the Cowboys, this is not always the case. This would be the most comforting strength to me. Teammates praised his all business attitude toward practice and meetings. And NFL scouts said our coaches are going to love him because he's a process guy. How he prepares influences how he plays. There are not enough guys in that Dallas Cowboys building that do that. Let's be honest. It's a little crazy. They're a little bit more about the sizzle than the steak in Dallas. And whoops, sorry, I hit the wrong thing. So to have a guy that is sort of all business there for the Cowboys is absolutely fantastic. Caleb Downs going to Dallas, and the Miami Dolphins, by the way, have already got their pick in. Chris Waddell says there had to be a bidding war for that pick, in my opinion. Well, that's interesting. I don't know if there was, because if the winning, I guess they got 3 picks for him. So maybe, I don't know, Chris, you're right. Maybe. It could be. Nick Ellert says Caleb Downs is from 10 minutes away from where I live. Cool. Did you ever bump into him or anything? Heineman says Jerry got Kyle Hamilton 2.0. Nick Ellert says, yeah, but stats, Jerry Jones is the opposite. It will probably rub Caleb Downs wrong. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it will. But the Cowboys need, Dak is an all football guy too. And there's a lot of guys, and Jerry is not a football first guy. Don't let him fool you. Jerry Jones is not an all football guy. Jerry cares about the business first and foremost and the football after that. If he had to choose between winning the Super Bowl and being the most valuable franchise, he's picking the most valuable franchise every time. And you don't need to listen to what he says. Just watch what he's done over the years. So there you go. Cowboy fans have to be over the moon that Caleb Downs fell to them at 11. They've got to be thrilled with that. They probably looked at the board and said, all right, we've got Bailey, we've got Reese, and we've got Downs as probably the best 3 defenders. And the fact that they can sit there, they were at 12. They have to move up. They only move up 1 spot to 11, and they get Caleb Downs. They've got to be, that's a hugs and hand pounds and handshake situation in the draft room for sure. They're showing, oh no, that's not the Cowboys draft room on ESPN. Sorry. I thought they were for a second. Maybe they did. Maybe I missed it, but they've got to be just overjoyed with that pick. Ross Johnson says Jay Glazer is apparently saying the Rams will take Ty Simpson. That is fascinating. Now, I have heard that Sean McVay does like Ty Simpson. Now, if you're the Rams, is that, I don't know. Here's the thing with the Rams. Their roster is so good. Is there anybody that they could pick that would be a starter for them that would even play that much? I don't know. And if you believe in Ty Simpson, then why not take him, right? If you believe in that guy, if they take a receiver, he's not starting over Devontae Adams. He's not starting over Puka Nacua. So he's going to be maybe your wide receiver 3. And how often are you going to use him? Because you usually go 3 tight ends anyway. So if you're the Rams and you believe in him, I completely get it. Now, we got to wait a couple picks to get to the Rams, or 1 pick anyway, the Dolphins. And that pick is in. And it looks like the Dolphins are going offensive line. They take Caden Proctor, the tackle from Alabama, goes to Miami. That's a great from if Miami's like, we're going to take the offensive lineman and we trade down and we get the extra picks. They got to be thrilled. I know some people had potentially him being available for the 49ers at 27. I didn't think that was going to be the case. And obviously it's not. 6'6", 352 pounds. Caden Proctor is an absolute monster. Let's see what Dane Brugler has to say about Proctor. 4th best tackle, according to Brugler. Boasts an exciting foundation, but needs his discipline and technique to catch up. That's interesting. Proctor's big, strong, and explosive, which is an exciting foundation for an offensive lineman, but that optimism should be curbed until his discipline and technique catch up. He has starting caliber upside at left tackle, although some teams believe moving to guard would be best for his pro career. We've seen that a lot. Guys start out at tackle. Maybe they don't quite make it work. They end up going to guard. It's sort of like a parachute. backup plan. If it doesn't work out at tackle, maybe it can work out at guard. In fact, that's why a lot of people say offensive linemen get drafted in the first round so much, because it's like a parachute. So it's like, all right, this guy was maybe a bust at tackle, but if he ends up being a good guard, you look good as a GM because you're like, hey, we got a really good offensive lineman in the first round. So some people say that's why a lot of times those tackles will get picked maybe a little earlier than they should. And I'm not saying Proctor was picked earlier than he should, but that is a real factor and a real consideration. So now the Rams are on the clock. And if you're the Rams and you want Ty Simpson, I don't know. Wouldn't you try and trade down? Who's taking Ty Simpson? Are the Ravens taking him? No. Are the Bucs taking him? No. Now, you might think the Jets could take him potentially, maybe, and that's possible. God knows they need a quarterback. The Lions aren't going to take him. The Vikings just got Kyler Murray. I don't think they would take him. If you're the Rams, the Panthers are not going to take him. The Cowboys are not going to take him. Maybe the Steelers at 21 I would worry about. Now, of course, the Steelers could trade up in the draft, so you've got to take that risk. But if I were the Rams, I would be like, let's see if we can trade down. If we miss out on Simpson, okay, we miss out on Simpson. But do we really need to take him at this pick right here? If you can get any extra picks, if you're the Rams, I would try it. If Simpson is the guy you want. Now, Ruben Bane is still on the board. Mekhi Lemon is still there. Monroe Freeling. Again, I think the Rams could go offensive line if they wanted to. They could take a tackle. We will see. Jason says the Rams are going to crush me and take Sadiq. Yeah, please don't. Please don't. It'd be one thing for him to be on the board and the 49ers not to take him. That would be crushing to me. But for him to be not only not on the 49ers, but then on the Rams, what are they going to run? 4 tight ends out there next year? Oh, man. I hope not. I hope not. But I'm sure the Rams will do something to stick the knife in me. The Rams pick is in. So whoever it is, they are not trading down. The pick is in. That would have the Ravens on the clock next, followed by the Bucs. I have not seen any leaks on Twitter. I haven't even seen any rumors about anything. Did Jimmy Garoppolo retire? And if Garoppolo retires, then do they want to go backup quarterback? And maybe Jimmy got word to them that he's not going to come back. And so maybe they want to go Ty Simpson because they need a backup quarterback. Ryan Hoops says, if Simpson goes now, does Beck somehow sneak into the end of the first round? Well, I don't think so, because I think if Simpson goes, I think the Cardinals, because the Cardinals pick early in round 2. Did I actually? I did. Okay, good. Go me. Yeah, the Cardinals pick at 34. So it's like, if Simpson's off the board, do we really need to trade up for a quarterback? I don't know. I think it actually makes them less likely to make a move, if that makes sense, because people say there's such a drop-off after Simpson. So I don't think that they would. But hey, stupid teams do stupid things all the time, right? Bad teams stay bad for a reason. And the draft just went to commercial. That's always fascinating. Brisbee Life says someone could trade into the end of the first round to get the 5th-year option on a quarterback, though. That is true. But here's the thing. If you're good enough to get the 5th-year option picked up, you're probably good enough to get a new contract after the 3rd year. How many quarterbacks actually play on the 5th-year option? Has there ever been a guy? Now, Kirk Cousins was picked before that was a thing, and he wasn't a first-round pick anyway, so he didn't have a 5th-year option. But Cousins played out his contract, played on the tag again, and then hit free agency. But that was really because Washington didn't believe in him. So if you're good enough that they would want to pick up the 5th-year option, usually you just get a new contract after that 3rd year, which is the first year you're eligible under the collective bargaining agreement. Nick Howard says, oh no, Schefter is talking about Ty Simpson. Look, if it is Ty Simpson, that's good for the 49ers, because that means that somebody, like, there was no chance the 49ers wanted Ty Simpson. So that just takes one player the 49ers could potentially draft and keeps him on the board. So a quarterback would be good for the 49ers if the Rams, in fact, do go with Ty Simpson. So that's one upside. Now, Simpson may be really good, and so we may be cursing this pick years from now. But if that is the move, at least that's the upside. And again, we try to look through everything from a 49ers perspective. This is the 49ers Gold Standard Podcast, the live draft show. I know that some people are saying next year's could have 5 quarterbacks in the draft. We'll see. We've seen that. So we'll have to, we're skipping a year ahead that I don't want to do that. Let's see. Jason says, I love how every player I want for the 49ers is still available. Well, there's a lot, but there's also a lot of picks between now and then, right? Let's say the Rams take Simpson, just, to be optimistic. You've still got the Ravens, Bucks, Jets, Lions, Vikings, Panthers, Cowboys, Steelers, Chargers, Eagles, Browns, Bears, and Bills before you get to the 49ers. So, of course, there's a lot of guys you want for the 49ers there now because all the picks haven't been made. It is interesting that Ruben Bane keeps falling. People, I guess, are very, very scared by the fact that his arms are short. And I get that. But, damn, we're at pick 13 now, and he's still there. The Rams pick is in. Come on, Goodell. Shuffle on out to that podium. Man, I only have this beer here. How did I think I was going to get through this with just one beer? Terrible job by me in a big spot. All right. Come on, Goodell. Let's go. With the 13th pick, it is Ty Simpson. For the Rams, they go quarterback. Hello, first surprise of the draft. Simpson, at number 13 to the Rams. Probably means we've seen the last of Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback in the National Football League. Happy trails, Jimmy GQ. Ty Simpson goes to the Rams. That sound you hear is Cardinals fans yelling to the heavens. Or maybe yelling to the heavens in happiness because they didn't want the Cardinals to take him. I don't know. I will say this. Cardinals got a weird a quarterback situation right now. Jacoby Brissett wants more money. Ty Simpson is now off the board. If you're John Lynch, do you pick up the phone and say, hey, we got a quarterback that just played well and beat you last season. How, instead of trading up for Ty Simpson, how about you trade us some picks for Mac Jones, Arizona? If you're not on the phone, John Lynch, that's franchise malpractice. Pick up the phone and make it happen. A lot of people laughing like this commenter. What a dumb pick as of right now. Ha, ha, ha. We can say that, but you know what? What if Matthew Stafford's back flares up next season and all of a sudden the Rams need a backup quarterback and Jimmy Garoppolo retires? Now they've got a first-round pick just waiting in the wings. Benjamin says, actually, that sound you hear is Niners, Seahawks, and Cardinals fans screaming hallelujah. Look, I don't know if Simpson's any good. You don't know if Simpson's any good. All right? We got to stop acting like we know what these guys are for sure. But I will say that the thought was that there was a big drop-off between Mendoza and Simpson, and maybe there is. I don't know. And if you want to be a Niners fan and hope that the Rams screwed up, that's fine. I get it. Dane Brugler says Simpson has the command and process of an NFL quarterback, but he needs valuable experience to be more efficient in his reads and to better understand what is open and what isn't. He projects as a low-level NFL starter with the ceiling of a mid-level starter and floor of a backup, reminiscent of Daniel Jones with lesser physical traits. That is kind of a damning indictment. I will say this. That is not super encouraging for when you're talking about a guy that could potentially take the reins of your franchise. Dieter and Hutch says the upside is a positive jitterbug stuff in the pocket allows him to play, make, and avoid pressure. And with enough time, confidence, and system, he learns to stay in there and rip it under pressure, trusting the part of himself. The downside, according to Dieter and Hutch, is someone who doesn't have the traits to make up for a bit of panic under pressure, is enough of a gamer to make work as a backup quarterback, but never comes good as a starter, a la John Wolford. Jake Hutchinson says, when things are good, he's good. He has to be graded on a little bit of a curve because of his injuries. If the offense is flowing, he'll go from 1, 2, 3 in progression quickly. He has a Purdy-esque ability to escape the pocket at the last second, quicker than fast. I don't love how he plays under pressure. He panics and short arms the ball far too often rather than stepping into throws and driving it. He's a very inconsistent deep ball thrower with the ball coming out awfully flat. Now, I don't know if he's going to be good or not, but I will say this. Playing quarterback is all about what you do when things aren't good, when the pocket is collapsing, when the wide receiver runs the wrong route, when your offensive lineman blows a block, when your running back misses the pass protection. Quarterback is all about what you do when the crap hits the fan. There's a ton of guys in the league that can go 1, 2, 3 when everything's on rhythm. The whole game plan is designed to help a quarterback do that. All right. What do you do when stuff goes sideways? That's what quarterback play is in the NFL. Stafford is amazing at it because of his arm talent and his knowledge and his reading of defenses. I think Brock Purdy is very good at it, kind of ad-libbing, scrambling, extending the play. That's what it's going to come down to for Simpson. Simpson, eh? Sorry, it had to be done. Did you not expect me to do that? I'm sure someone has done it on television already. All right, so that is the big first shock of the first round. Ty Simpson 13 to the Rams. Baltimore Ravens are up next. Their pick is in. That would put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 15 on the clock. And then the Jets are up with their second pick of round 1. I don't know what Baltimore is going to do. Do they go defensive tackle? Do they go another wide receiver for Lamar Jackson? They could take an offensive lineman. Tyler Linderbaum obviously just left this offseason, so maybe do they want to go center? Sam Hecht is there from Kansas State, Connor Lew from Auburn, Jake Slaughter from Florida. Those guys are projected to go much, much lower for what it's worth, but they are centers. They are on the board. Monroe Freeling is still there, the tackle from Georgia. Caleb Lomu, of course, from Utah, who everybody is predicted to go to the Niners. You've also got Oliva Venga Ioane. That is a tough one, but he is the guard from Penn State. If you're unfamiliar, he is there as well. Let me throw that up on the board. Did the Buccaneers? No, the Ravens just picked. Oh, okay, and that's who they picked. Oliva Venga Ioane from Penn State. Welcome to Baltimore. You now have to pass block for Lamar Jackson, which, by the way, has got to be a very difficult job because you never know where the hell Lamar Jackson is going to be. But it's tough for me to evaluate. Obviously, I don't scout offensive linemen. I do give the Ravens the benefit of the doubt because they've been a good team for a long time. And there's not a lot of bust guards that get picked this high in the first round. Usually, if you're a guard and you're getting picked this high, it's because you're damn good. Jacob says the 8 minutes between picks is a good thing. These teams have done their homework and they don't need 15 minutes like it once was. They absolutely do not. No question about it. It's been better. Brisbee Life on Twitch says it's a bold statement about the talent of your team to spend the 13th pick on a guy that probably won't play for you at all next year. Yes, it is when you're talking about the Rams. But again, their roster is loaded. I think it's the best roster in the league. And I think they were saying whoever we pick at 13 is probably not going to play that much this year because that's how good the roster is. And it has to come down to your belief in Ty Simpson. It has to. You must think he's really freaking good or will be in your system. Because, again, if you like him and maybe you could have got him later, I don't know, but they obviously believed in him and they didn't have to trade up to get him. So they went with him. If Matthew Stafford's back flares up and all of a sudden he's got to play next year, they're going to look like geniuses. If he doesn't play at all, and then when he eventually comes in, he looks like crap, they're going to take some heat. But like the last trio says, or the last hero, excuse me, Rams doing the Jordan Love development route. We'll see if it works out. JM617 says Simpson to the Lambs is such a Niners move. The Niners were the kings of, we're drafting this guy, but we don't need him for a year, which is like the 49ers beat loves to say that about the team as if it's like some great thing. It's like, no, that's terrible. If your guy is not good enough to get on the field, that's not a good sign. Let me just scan Twitter. Here we go. Somebody on Twitter says, Nick Newman says, the Rams were on the doorstep of a Super Bowl and draft for zero immediate impact in round one. I get it, but like, it has to be about more than this year. Now, you could say the Rams are all in, but, you don't have to be all in with every single draft pick. Again, if they really believe Simpson's the guy, it makes sense to pick it. I don't know how Rams fans are reacting to it, but I could at least understand what they were thinking. Now, the Buccaneers are on the clock. They have a lot of needs as well. Edge, linebacker. They lost Levante David. Defensive tackle, corner, tight end, you can see on the screen. If you want somebody on your defensive front, Ruben Bane is just sitting there. He's right there. He was projected to go in the top 10. You're at 15. You could get Ruben Bane without having to trade at all. That would be a win if you're Tampa Bay. I think we're going to see Bane come off the board here because that makes too much sense. And then we're going to see why. This is when the wide receivers are going to start flying off the board. I think we're going to see offensive linemen and wide receivers. And then you're going to get to the 49ers. You're going to be like, shoot. Who's left? Chris Waddell says, surprised the Ravens didn't pick the murdered given their history of not caring about that. Everyone just forgiving that about Lewis was wild to me. I don't really know what you're referring to. I know you're referencing the Ray Lewis thing. I don't know who in the draft. Oh, Bane, I know, had a traffic incident. Is that what you're talking about? All right. You made a joke. I mean, let's be careful with some of the jokes, Chris. People died, I don't want to joke about that. All right, the Buccaneers pick is in. I'm seeing on Twitter who possibly it could be. I don't know if my Twitter feed is refreshing properly either. Terrible night for it to break down in a big spot. I love people. Insiders are tweeting out quarterbacks still on the board include. Yeah, and they're going to be on the board for a while because everyone spent the last 6 months telling us how much the quarterbacks in this draft stunk after Ty Simpson. Another commercial in the draft. Come on, let's go here. If you're the Bucs, you lose Mike Evans. You could make the argument for wide receiver. You've got Baker Mayfield there, but he's been so banged up all the time. Like, where are you if you're the Bucs? You're in a very winnable division, right? So you would think you would want someone that could make an impact for you right away because you're in such a winnable division. You win your division, you get into the playoffs. You're going to have a home playoff game. Maybe you make some noise. More and more, the NFL is becoming just get to the playoffs and crazy stuff happens. That's really what the NFL is becoming in a lot of ways. So if you're Tampa Bay, just draft someone that can make a big impact right away. Corey Matthews Music becomes a YouTube channel member. Thank you very much, Corey. You get the fist pump. Again, we appreciate all the YouTube channel members. It's less than $3 a month. You get custom emojis. You get membership badges. You get priority comment response. The pick is in for the Bucs. Goodell is at the podium, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are selecting, drumroll please, Ruben Bane. Finally off the board, the edge from Miami. Hello, Ruben Bane. Welcome to Tampa Bay and sweltering heat during training camp and pretty much all year long. Bane, according to Dane Brugler, not a prototypical edge, but his power and play style will disrupt NFL backfields. Dane's takeaway is that Bane has some size, speed constraints, but his power profile, leveraged attack, and tenacious play style show in all areas of his game and directly lead to backfield disruption. He projects as a scheme-versatile NFL starter who can line up wide, over the tackle, or inside as a 3 technique. The big thing with Bane, the arm length. 30 and 7/8 inch arms. That is one of the smallest or shortest arms of any edge rusher in recent history, I believe. It is very, very short. That is very scary for teams. The reason why is because if you have shorter arms than the offensive lineman, they can control you first. They can sort of dictate the terms of the engagement. And I get that. But also, if I'm a Bucs fan, I'm saying, hey, Ruben Bane's arms have been this length for his entire life. And he still dominated at the college level. So maybe it's not as big a deal. Dieter and Hutch say, despite the T-Rex arms, Bane can go right through your face and bend outside, and he's strong enough to play the run. Could be an additive piece to most teams and a potential star. The downside, according to them, to Bane is his length is legitimately problematic, though his style helps allay some of those concerns. Chance he doesn't adapt well to the NFL level and is a good, not great player on the edge. 6'2", 263. 6'2" is not very big for an edge at all. He missed 4 games as a sophomore because of soft tissue injury. He tore his left MCL during the state title game of his high school junior year, which required surgery, and wears a bulky brace on his left arm. Had at least one missed tackle on almost every 2025 tape studied. Longer tackles will be able to close space and prevent him from creating a runway. More quick than explosive off the snap. Some of the strengths are wide-hipped, densely built frame with thick quads and bubble on bald calves. Quick off his spots and plays at a relentless level. Heavy, deliberate rush hands to overpower blockers with clubs, chops, and rips. So there you go. That's who you get if you're Tampa Bay. Corey Matthews Music says, hey, Niners, mortgage picks for Lance 2 years after a Super Bowl berth and made the NFC Championship that same year. Rams probably feeling themselves. Technically, the Niners made the NFC Championship game at least every year that they did not have a first-round pick due to the Trey Lance trade. So, obviously, it can be done if you don't get the impact in the first round. And that's probably what the Rams are thinking. The Jets are on the clock next at 16. Followed by the Lions and the Vikings. The Jets pick is in, according to my cell phone device. So we'll wait and see who they pick. Trying to take a broader view and see how this is going for the 49ers so far. There are a lot of wide receivers still on the board. Mekhi Lemon, Omar Cooper Jr., Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Jeremy Bernard, Chris Brazzell, who's the guy that I really like. Not projected to go in the first round necessarily, but still really good. He is there. If you want the 49ers to go edge, Keldrick Falk, Akeem Mesidor, Zion Young, TJ Parker, Cassius Howell, Gabe Akis, Mekhi Lawrence, all still there. Now, again, we still have a long way to go for the 49ers. In terms of safeties, Dylan Thieneman still there. Emmanuel McNeil Warren still there. Genesis Smith. I know he's not going to go till much later. But he's a guy that I've heard talked about there as well. So there's good players left. We got to see how this shakes out. I really think the Vikings at 18 are going to take a safety. Harrison Smith. Obviously, there's a need there with Harrison Smith retiring. So I think Minnesota is going to take. I wouldn't be shocked to see them take Thieneman there. If he gets past them there, who knows? All right, Roger Goodell is shuffling to the podium for the New York Jets pick. Remember, this is the second pick of the first round for the Jets after they took David Bailey at pick number 2. The Jets pick is in, and it is Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end, going to the New York Jets. And I got to say, this is fascinating to me because the Jets have not had a game-breaking player, just a superstar, freak athlete, game-breaking type of player on their offense in a long time. This is a pick with a massive, massive upside. This is a big home run swing for the New York Jets. Sadiq is a monster. He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. I get it. I get the pick for the Jets, quite honestly. I'm trying to look because there is a quarterback stat for the Jets that you're not going to believe if I read it out loud. Let me see if I can find it quickly here. Single season leaders. Maybe it's here. I don't want all-time single season leader. The Jets haven't had a quarterback, I think, throw for 20 touchdowns in like a decade. It's some absurd stat like that. Let me see if I can do it like this. Year. Here we go. Last year, they didn't have a quarterback throw for more than 7 touchdown passes. In 2024, they had Aaron Rodgers. He threw for 28. Okay, so maybe he broke the streak. In 2023, They didn't have a quarterback throw for even 10 touchdown passes because they'd had guys in and out of the lineup. In 2022, they didn't have a quarterback throw for more than 6 touchdown passes. In 2021, Zach Wilson led the team with 11 touchdown passes. In 2020, Sam Darnold led with 11 touchdown passes. In 2019, Sam Darnold led with 13 touchdown passes. In 28, 15 touchdown passes. The quarterback play for the Jets has been putrid for a really, really long time. So to see them go with Sadiq there, they're trying to get a playmaker. They are trying to get someone that can help their offense, which has been unwatchable, even with Aaron Rodgers. Unwatchable. And Heineman says, stats, you got to remember they have Aaron Glenn. Listen, there's a very real chance that this is the last first-round draft pick Aaron Glenn ever gets to make. I mean, let's be honest. He is on the thinnest of thin ice in New York. They got a new GM there. One of the biggest factors as to whether or not you get fired by a head coach is not only what your team does on the field, but it's also who else is potentially available and out there. And if you're the Jets or any team contemplating a head coaching change, you have Mike Tomlin and Sean McDermott just sitting there, chilling, not working for any team. Mike Tomlin's going to be on NBC on Sunday Night Football. If you're an owner that wants to make a coaching change, you can interview them anytime you want in the middle of the season. Hell, you could fire Aaron Glenn and hire Mike Tomlin in week 2 if you want. So that's a huge factor. The fact that they can get a head start on the head coaching position and they can have a deal worked out with Mike Tomlin before you're even fired. So Aaron Glenn is on the thinnest of thin ice. And he had to nail this pick. And they go Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end. That is a fascinating, fascinating pick. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit. I'm going to have to get another drink somehow. Maybe I can convince my wife to do it. See if I send her a quick text. Maybe she'll save my butt. All right, so with the Jets pick, that puts the Detroit Lions on the clock. Their pick is officially in. Oh, Michael says, I hope Sadiq doesn't tear his ACL on that shitty field in New York. I don't want to jinx anybody, but I will say that is not a field I would like to play. I'm on record as saying I hope the 49ers play the Giants early in the season before Micah Williams comes back, before George Kittle comes back, before Nick Bosa comes back, even though Bosa seems like he's going to be ready for week 1. I would love for those guys to just skip that game. Just skip it. Like, we don't, even if they lose it, just skip it, man. You're too important to go back out in that field, especially Michael. That's got to be traumatizing. See if I can get my wife to bring me a drink. All right, so the Lions are on the clock. The draft is in another commercial. Lions got a bunch of different options that they could go with. They could use an offensive lineman. They've had a lot of holes on their offensive line. That used to be the core strength foundation of their team, was the running game and the offensive lineman. And they would use Jared Goff on play action, and they would just pound you to death with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And when the offensive line can't protect, we've seen Jared Goff struggle. He is not the same guy. It is drastic. So I wouldn't be shocked if they go offensive line. Sorry, I'm trying to get my wife to bring me a drink. I wouldn't be shocked if they go offensive line. Monroe Freeling is still there. Caleb Lamo is still there. Blake Miller is still there at tackle. Bunch of good guard. Chase Basantis is an excellent, excellent pass blocking guard from Texas A&M that they could go with. Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. Kalen Rutledge is there as well. Now, some people are projecting them to go way lower, but I'm just telling you who's on the board. Sam Hack, the center, is still there. Jake Slaughter, Logan Jones, and others. If they want to go offensive line, there are options. Their pick is in. That would put the Minnesota Vikings on the clock. I don't know where. I mean, could the Lions go wide receiver? Mekhi Lemon is there. Omar Cooper Jr., I feel like, is a guy that would fit in with the Lions. Oh, I was premature with the chimes because Roger Goodell's doing a Make-A-Wish thing at the podium. So it's not going to be announced quite yet. Let's see if I can find that on the old Twitter sphere. I don't see it just yet. but fascinating. The Jets take Sadiq. Chris Sims says, Jets go for a pass catcher with Sadiq. Like him better than Lemon or Cooper. Runs routes like a wideout. Can create some matchup problems. Probably one of the safer offensive picks in the draft. If you're the Jets, that's really all you're hoping for. Just give me somebody that works out. All right. Lions pick is in, and it is being read by not Roger Goodell. And let's see. I hope they gave the kid an easy pronunciation. Blake Miller. There we go. Doesn't get much easier than that. All right. Blake Miller goes to the Lions. They get the tackle. Like I said, it makes sense, right? That is how your team is built. They were plugging holes in the dam. They were trying to bring people out of retirement last year because they for help on the offensive line. So you understand why the Detroit Lions made the pick. Oh, here comes my son with a drink. Look at this. You are the best son on the planet. All right, Thomas, we're at pick 18 now. Okay. Let's see. Not a lot of wide receivers have been taken. The Jets just took Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end that I wanted for the 49ers, so that is a bummer.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm watching it right now.
You're watching the draft upstairs?
Yeah.
Are you watching this show?
Yes. Oh, no, I'm not watching the show. I'm watching
Not watching his father. He's not. His father is downstairs doing a live draft show. You're not watching.
I mean, I could hear you.
Oh, that's true. You can hear me through the floor. So, all right. Thank you very much. Let's see. The Vikings pick is in. See, I think they might go safety here, and that's one of the guys I wanted the 49ers to take, or at least be available, have the option to take. So I'm a little nervous about that. All right. You have any words of wisdom for the people out there?
Do good.
Be kind, do good. That's what I say to them every day when I drop them off at school. Oh, my God. I needed that for my voice. Thank you, Thomas. Whew, okay, we are an hour and 41 minutes into this. Let's see. The Vikings pick is in. I always find it fascinating, too, when you've got two teams from the same division back to back. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I always find it interesting there. Like, what are they going to do? Do they call each other for trades? Is this the run on offensive linemen? Let's see. Minnesota Vikings pick is in, and they have selected Caleb Banks from Florida. Caleb Banks is now off the board for the Vikings. They don't go safety. They go defensive tackle instead. Again, for me, that is good. And as Timmy says, Thieneman is still an option. Now, I don't know what Caleb Banks, how he's looking here. Let me go to the Dane Brugler draft guide since I don't really have much to say about him. Surprised they didn't go safety. Brugler says a towering athlete with power and twitch. His injury history may give some teams pause. This is great. If you've got an injury history, come off the board before the 49ers pick. Please. Thank you, Lord. Let's get you off the board before the 49ers take you at 27. Here's the Brugler draft guide. Let's see. Banks has a rare combination of size, raw power, and big man twitch, all of which led to big-time flashes and glimpses of his ceiling. However, the absence of a healthy senior season complicates his projection, and his draft grade will depend on each team's appetite for risk. Now, I will say that the Vikings draft had been run by Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who, quite frankly, was a disaster in Minnesota. His drafts were really, really bad. He is obviously gone now. He's in San Francisco, not making the calls for the 49ers, but as part of their front office. So it's a new day for the Vikings. So if you're a Vikings fan, maybe you're hopeful that the fact that Kwesi is gone will help you. That's probably the thing I'm singing if I'm a Minnesota fan. Chris Waddell says Banks equals Javon Kinlaw. Let me just say, Vikings fans, if that is true, you're not going to be happy because obviously we saw with the 49ers, it just didn't work out. He was injured all the time. He never really got to develop. He never had a healthy offseason, it felt like. So for your sake, I hope that is not the case. I'm not trying to drag Javon Kinlaw. I'm just pointing out the reality of his NFL career so far. All right, that is 18 picks up and down. Carolina Panthers on the clock. The Cowboys are up again at 20. Then you've got the Steelers at 21, the Chargers at 22, the Eagles at 23, the Browns at 24, the Bears at 25, and the Bills at 26, all before you get to the 49ers. So quite a few encouraging names on the board if you're a Niner fan, but also quite a few picks still to go. Lots of people in the chat saying that I could use my son's help in the commentary. Look, he would love to do it. He asks me every day to be on a show. Let's see. Luis Fernando Aguilera Alonso says Dieter is going to have a field day with the Vikings picking Banks. Again, that's what I want everybody with injury problems to be off the board by the time the 49ers pick. That's what we need, right? If they're not going to get out of their own way, we need the league to do it for them. SF from 49ers 21 says, thanks, Rob, for this live listen along with the draft. Thank you. I appreciate you. There are almost 900 people watching. Thank you so much, everybody. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel. We're live every single weekday for you. We do, if you subscribe to the audio-only podcast, we do a live 49ers in 5 news update, or I should say a 49ers in 5 news update. It's 5 minutes. It's just whatever's going on with the 49ers. It's got press conference clips, interview clips, injury reports during the season. Please follow us both places. I promise you, you will like what you hear. Okay, Panthers pick is in, so they will not be trading down. Hasn't been a ton of trades so far in the draft. I believe, what have we seen? 3, right? The Chiefs traded up, the Cowboys traded up, and, oh, no, just 2. That's it. That's all we've seen so far. Yeah, so some people predicted it was going to be a lot of trades. I didn't think so. And so far, that hasn't really played out. Although, you know, we're getting into the middle part of the first round here, so maybe that could change. Clearly, the shock of the draft to this point is Ty Simpson to the Rams at 13. Some people didn't even know if he would be a first-round pick. Clearly, obviously, he was almost top 10. Got to give a little love to Dan Orlovsky. He was big on Ty Simpson. He took a lot of crap for it. Now, he said maybe that he might be the best quarterback in the draft, but clearly, he was high on Ty Simpson, and the Rams obviously agreed with him because they took him at 13. Draft is in another commercial now. Thank you to everybody, all the comments. I appreciate it. People are saying Levin got some sleep. Yeah, he's had a crazy couple weeks at work. Sort of a crazy thing. Everybody on the network had something else going on, unfortunately, because, again, I'm the only one that does this full time. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Jason Aponte also does it full time, but he's got his own show going on. But we will have Kyle Posey from Niners Nation joining us. We will have Michelle Majuk from the Gold Standard Podcast and NFL Network joining us as well. So hopefully we can get those 2 in, probably closer to the 49ers pick or maybe after the 49ers pick. All right, the Carolina Panthers pick is in. Goodell is shuffling to the podium. What do you got for me, Raj? Pick 19. Let's make it good. Monroe Freeling. Oh, here we go with the offensive lineman. Monroe Freeling, the tackle from Georgia, goes to the Carolina Panthers. Look, you're trying to help Bryce Young. You like what you saw from Tet McMillan last year. You had a defense in Carolina that turned people over like crazy. 49ers fans saw that firsthand on that Monday Night Football game where the Panthers had 3 picks in the first half. You're trying to protect your quarterback. Now, it might be a little tough for Bryce Young because Freeling is 6'7", and apparently the Cowboys have just traded their pick. They were on the clock. They just traded it to the Eagles. So now the Eagles are on the clock. Interesting intra-division trade. Philadelphia is now on the clock. Again, they trade up to 20. Who could it be? Now, I had heard a rumor that the Eagles had traded for Jonathan Grenard, the pass rusher from Minnesota, but it wasn't like out there. It was just sort of a rumor. Haven't seen anything about that, but we do have the Eagles trading up to 20. I got to wonder. I mean, Omar Cooper is still there at wide receiver. Mekhi Lemon is still there at wide receiver. Casey Concepcion. Everybody feels like the Eagles are going to trade A.J. Brown in June to the Patriots. Could they hop up here and get the wide receiver that they want? That would be very Philadelphia Eagles. The pick is in. If I had to bet money that mattered to me, I would say wide receiver here. Is Roger Goodell shuffling up? Yes, he is. The Philadelphia Eagles at pick 20 have selected. Drum roll, please. It's got to be a wide receiver. Mekhi Lemon. There it is. Wide receiver from USC. That doesn't surprise me. Again, they are trading A.J. Brown. I said it over and over and over again. If you saw how last year ended, you could tell A.J. was just done. It was over. People said, well, how he could hold on to him. No, it was never going to happen. I think this is the biggest sign yet that the Philadelphia Eagles are trading A.J. Brown. They're going to go Mekhi Lemon. They're going to go Devontae Smith. Saquon Barkley is there. It makes all the sense in the world. Now, it's fascinating that they traded up. They must have thought Mekhi Lemon was way better than the other wide receivers on the board, and there's a lot of good ones. But the Eagles don't really wait around. It's not really their thing. Now, I got to see the terms of the trade before I could update my little draft breakdown here. So I haven't seen that yet, but as soon as I see it, I will. Bryce James, thank you so much for the super chat. Bryce says, Rob, I'm a big Giants fan, and a creator made a chat for the fans through the BCC app. The chat right now is looking for something similar, but for the Niners. Would love you to make something similar. I don't know what the BCC app is, but I will definitely look into it. If anyone wants to help me out with that, like I'm always looking for new ways to get in touch with fans and interact with fans. So I will look into it. The BCC app. Okay. Thank you. I will check it out. But thank you, Bryce. Appreciate the super chat. Let's see the terms. Come on, somebody's got to have the terms of this trade by now. I know we're not putting out the picks on Twitter, but come on here. Let's go. The Eagles trade for 20 and a 7th round pick in exchange. Dallas gets 23, 114, and 137. All right, let's see if I can do this here. Proposed trade, Cowboys. Next. Sorry, I know this is riveting, but I'm trying to keep my draft board up to date here. Where the hell are the Eagles? Okay. 20. Now, what was it? Let's see. 20 and a 7th for 23, 14, and 137. 23. No, I forgot already. 23, 114, and 137. Boom. Oh, they wouldn't even do it. No, they won't do it on the thing. Oh, well, you know what? I can confirm it anyway. Trade has been rejected. How has it been rejected? I control both teams. All right. Well, I'll pick Lemon there, and we'll all pretend that it was for the Eagles. All right. Now the Steelers are on the clock. They were a team I thought could go for a quarterback. I thought maybe Ty Simpson would be someone that the Steelers could go for. Now he is off the board. I can't help but wonder if John Lynch has picked up the phone and said, hey, we'll give you Mac Jones. Is it possible that they have done that? That John Lynch has picked up the phone and said, hey, Pittsburgh, you need a quarterback. We just showed you what Mac Jones can do. Pittsburgh has the 53rd. They're not giving up 21. They have the 53rd pick. They have the 76th pick. They have the 85th pick. The 49ers don't have a pick between 58 and 127. So there's a huge gap there. Mac Jones, pick 76. Maybe Pittsburgh adds another pick on there at the end. You're telling me they can't work out a deal? I don't know. Now, I think I would feel better about it if Tomlin was still there because I feel like that might be a move Tomlin might make. But I just think that Pittsburgh needs a guy. They're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers. They're not, I would assume they're not going to take a quarterback here. I apologize. I could be wrong about that, but I would assume they're not taking a quarterback here. Give him Mac Jones. Let's go. So I'm just checking Twitter really quick. Didn't see any crazy updates. What are you saying in the chat? Could it be a wide receiver here? I don't know. Let's see what Pittsburgh does. Is their pick in? I haven't actually looked down at the draft. They're going nuts in Pittsburgh. I got to say, taking the draft on the road has been, I didn't want them to do it because I love the draft in Radio City, but it has been awesome to see the way the different cities show out. Green Bay was awesome last year. The fans in Pittsburgh look absolutely hyped right now. It looks unbelievable. There's people like outside the stadium watching. It looks really, really cool. Let's see if I can see the pick again. Yeah, no, even my Twitter is a little behind, which is kind of crazy. Chris Sims says, Mekhi Lemon to the Eagles. I get it because A.J. Brown ain't going to be there. Lack of explosion and separation, but he's tough and production is real. I'm surprised to hear so many people with warts on these guys. I mean, we're only at pick 21 in the first round. You would think there would be less obvious warts on these guys, but I think that's what people were saying about the strength of the draft, is that even the top guys maybe have more warts on them than normal. And I agree, Daniel, who points out KC and Nashville did really well too. Absolutely. It's been awesome. It is so cool. I don't know if they've announced where next year is yet, but it's been it just looks like a giant party everywhere. It looks awesome. I don't know if I would want to go. I don't do they have stuff for people to do, or are you just sitting there watching? I don't know, but everybody looks like they're having a damn good time. I got to say. All right, come on, let's go. Let's get to the pick. Bring out they're showing the hype video because it's in Pittsburgh, and yeah, great, I know. But if you're a Steeler fan, you haven't won a playoff game in like a decade, right? Like, it's great to see highlights of Ben Roethlisberger and the steel curtain defense and all that stuff, but you're trying to get back to the playoffs and win a playoff game, which is something that you have not been able to do for a very, very long time. Mike Tomlin is no longer there. This is a new era with the Steelers, and instead they are dipping into the past with this draft. They got Jerome Bettis on the stage with the terrible towel. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Sometimes they get a little crazy with the friggin' picks and everybody that they have out there. Yes, the Steelers are committed to growing the game. Just give us the name, for the love of God. No one cares about what you're saying. It's like the most frustrating thing. Come on, let's go, Pittsburgh.
I'm on and off.
Nope, wrong button. Yeah, people, they're doing it. I agree with the chat. Daniel says they're hosting. Like, I get it. The video is sick. Yeah, okay, it's cool, but we're not here for that, man. We're here for something else. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Max Ehanachore, another offensive lineman, is off the board. Another tackle. Max Ehanachore from Arizona State off the board at number 21. Caleb Lamu still there, lurking for the 49ers. A lot of 49ers fans do not want them to take him, but he is still there. Getting down to it, though, at tackle. He's the top-rated tackle left. So if the Chargers or the Cowboys, who traded down with the Eagles, or the Browns, if they're going to go tackle, maybe Caleb Lamu is the guy. Lots of wide receivers still there. Omar Cooper, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, all still there for the 49ers. Eli Stowers is there at tight end, although I don't think he's going to go in the first round. Lots of good guards still there for the Niners as well. Centers haven't really been a lot of those taken either. In terms of edge guys, you've still got Keldrick Falk, Akeem Mesidor, Zion Young, Cassius Howell, Gabe Akis, Malachi Lawrence. Lots of good edge options there as well. I got to think, if there is not a superstar stud wide receiver that the 49ers want at 27, that they're going edge. I still think that's the way to go. Oh, and as Daniel and others have pointed out too, safeties, right? There's still some good safeties on the board. You still got Dylan Thieneman, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, both still there. So there's options for the 49ers so far. And we're getting to the point now where there are still a lot of picks, but like not as many. Chargers are up on the clock now at 22. Their pick is in, so there will not be a trade. Jim Harbaugh loves his offensive linemen. Could he go offensive line again? Would he go Caleb Lamu again? Is he going to get Justin Herbert, a pass catcher? Omar Cooper seems like exactly the type of player Jim Harbaugh would love. Hard-nosed, breaks tackles, blocks, plays to the whistle. He would absolutely love that. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers went Omar Cooper there. Bryce James says it's going to be Chris Bell and we're going to get gaslit into it being a value. That's mean, but also not impossible. Let's be honest. What are you hoping for? Tell me in the chat. At this point now, seeing the first 21 picks, seeing who's available, we're getting down now where your hope is more than just a pipe dream. It's more than, just cross your fingers. We're getting down now to possible actual availability. So let's see it. The Chargers pick is in. Bolts fans are there and going nuts, obviously, as you would expect. Ooh. Oh, that must be lights. Those got to be lights. It can't be. They're showing huge swaths of the Chargers colors in the crowd, but that has to be just lights that they have on. There's no way all those people are there, Charger fans. That would be absolutely insane. Don't take anyone the 49ers want, damn it. Goodell's at the podium. What do you got for me, Raj? Are they going offensive line? Come on. Akeem Mesidor from Miami. They're going edge. Jim Harbaugh going with the pass rusher. As Dane Brugler says, a disruptive force and likely a 3-down starter despite age and injury concerns. Again, another guy. Oh, you got injury concerns? Great. Walk on by to somebody else. Mesidor off the board to the Chargers at 22. Let's see what else Brugler says about him. Go to the breakdown. Mesidor won't be universally loved because of his age and injury history, but he's disruptive off the edge. He was always playing 100 miles an hour. He projects as a 3-down starter with interior value on sub packages. He's 25. He just turned 25, so that is definitely older. And he battled some injuries, some foot injuries apparently. Played defensive tackle, has played edge as well. One of only 2 FBS players in 2025 with at least 17.5 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. So, damn, this man has been a disruptive force. No question about it. Good for the Chargers. You need a disruptive force when you're playing against Patrick Mahomes in that division. So, you need guys that can wreck games and wreck plays. So, I get that from Jim Harbaugh. And they don't care. And look, the age thing, he's definitely older for sure. There's no getting around that. But you've got him now on a potentially 5-year contract. You don't really re-sign that many guys to a second contract. That's just the reality of it. So if he's going to fall into that category, you don't really care that he's going to be 29 at the end of the contract or 30. Whatever. You're good with it. Because chances are you weren't going to re-sign him anyway. So the age thing is not that much of a factor. Plus, with the NIL stuff and the way guys are staying in school now, I think teams are just going to have to get used to older guys coming out. That's just the reality of the situation. Like, these guys have more incentive to stay in school than ever before. So the odds that you get a 21, 22, 23-year-old kid are lower than they've ever been before, quite honestly. All right, now the Cowboys are on the clock. I know my thing says Eagles, but that's only because I couldn't get the trade to work because the draft simulator didn't think it was a good enough trade. The Cowboys are on the clock. Now, we've been going, I think, at a pretty good pace here. We're at pick 23. We're 2 hours into the show. Most teams, I feel like, are not taking the full 10 minutes, but now it is slowed down. It is interesting to me, which tells me the Cowboys maybe are trying to work out a trade. That's what I think is going on right now, because otherwise I think the pick would be in because we have been moving. So maybe a team is trying to trade back up. There had been a thought, I had heard that the 49ers were trying to maybe trade into the early 20s. Maybe they're calling the Cowboys and seeing if they can move up. I don't know, but the pick is not in yet. 2.5 minutes to go. We'll see if the Cowboys make another trade here. I haven't seen anything that has leaked on Twitter. So we will wait and see. But again, so far, so good. I don't even want to say it out loud, but I feel like this is, of all the simulations the 49ers probably did, this is probably one of the more favorable ones for them. I think you've still got some interesting options at pass rusher if you're the 49ers. I think you've definitely got interesting options at wide receiver if you're the 49ers. You've got options at tight end, but it's too early for that right now. There's some really good guards if you wanted to go offensive line. Caleb Lamu is there right now if you wanted to go tackle. And the safeties are still there as well. So if you told me this was going to be the scenario before the draft at pick 23, I probably would have taken it. B Mills is the man asks, do they trade up for a safety? I think at this point, they're probably hoping that they don't have to. But also, like, if you're only trading up 1 or 2 spots, it becomes far less expensive. So maybe they'd be more willing to do it because, they only have the 6 picks. But maybe if you don't have to give up that much, you consider it. Blacktop Halo, YouTube channel member for 7 months. Thank you. Says, personally hoping for Malachi Lawrence. Thank you for your support, Blacktop Halo, first and foremost. There's a lot to like there with Malachi Lawrence for sure. If you're going to take a pass rusher, to me, it better be a guy that could be a potential game wrecker. Because again, like I talked about earlier, you need stars. You need impact players. That's what the 49ers need. They are being carried by the draft successes of years ago. You need a new one of those guys. It's got to be impact. It can't be, well, if you really dig into the film, he's actually really good. No, man, I want somebody that I need to be, I could be lazy to analyze, right? I want someone that I could check a box score and be like, damn, that guy's really good. That's what I wanted as a pass rusher. If that's the route you're going to go, don't give me the high floor guy. Don't give me the sets the edge in the run game guy. They got enough of those guys. Give me the potential game wrecker. I don't care if he has a low floor and a high ceiling. That's what I want. If that guy's Malachi Lawrence, great, Blacktop Halo. I'd be fine with it. All right, here's the Cowboys. They may go defense again. I would not be shocked to see another defender here for the Cowboys. It is Malachi Lawrence. Well, sorry, Blacktop Halo. Malachi Lawrence is off the board for the Dallas Cowboys. I know it says Eagles on my thing, but that's only because I couldn't get the trade to go through. Malachi Lawrence goes to the Dallas Cowboys. They needed to fix their defense. They are addressing their defense. Feels very much like the 49ers draft last year. Last year, the Niners were defense, defense, defense. This year, Cowboys are like, hey, we can't have what we have. We've got an offense that we like with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Dak Prescott, obviously. We can't have a defense just constantly mucking it up for us. So they are trying to address it in a major, major way. They go Caleb Downs with their first pick. Now they go Malachi Lawrence. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, Cowboys, I see what you're doing. I'm picking up what you're putting down, so to speak. Interesting that the Cowboys waited so long to make the pick. And the Browns have about 4 minutes left to go on the clock as well. And they still haven't made a pick yet. So again, I'm wondering if there is a team that is trying to move up and they are just calling everybody that's ahead of them, trying to work out a deal up until, the last couple minutes of the clock. Okay. Pick 24. We are so close. We are 4 picks away from the 49ers. Really, 3. 3 picks away from the 49ers. Going to be interesting. 3 picks away. If you are rooting for a safety, you could be potentially very happy. If you are rooting for a wide receiver, right? The worst case scenario is the next 3 picks are Omar Cooper, Casey Concepcion, and Denzel Boston. Assuming that doesn't happen, if you want a wide receiver, you're going to have one of those three available for you on the board. Now, I could see the Bears going wide receiver, definitely. If you want offensive tackle, like I said, Caleb Lomu is still there. If you want guards, Chase Pasantis, again, excellent pass blocker from Texas A&M is still there. Emmanuel Pregnon still there as well. If you want edge, it's looking a little thinner. Now, Keldrick Falk is still there. Zion Young is still there. TJ Parker from Clemson. Cassius Howell is still there as well. It's going to be interesting to see, and we talked about this leading up to it. The clash between edge rusher and wide receiver. If there are multiple options there, where are the 49ers going to go? What do they value more? We know they value receivers more than offensive line. Do they value them more than pass rusher? That's a question I don't know that I could answer to. Brushia13, YouTube channel member says, Rob, I listen every day. This is my first time catching you live. Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Thanks for everything. Now let's get Thieneman. Thank you for your support, really. I say this a lot, but the most valuable thing you can give me is your time. So when you say you listen every day, honestly, that means so much to me that anybody cares about what I have to say about this team. Thank you. I promise you I will never take that for granted. So thank you very much. We appreciate the support of you and everybody that listens. All right, we are 2 hours and 10 minutes into this thing. While we wait for the Browns pick, I just want to remind everybody that we are presented by Prize Picks. If you haven't checked out Prize Picks, please go and do so. It is the #1 sports pick app for daily fantasy player projections and lineups. It's daily fantasy made simple. You just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections, and you build a lineup in just a few taps. Go and check it out. You can pick team picks. You can do player picks. You can pick different sports. You could mix and match. And there's so much going on right now. Major League Baseball, the draft, obviously. The NBA playoffs are going on. NHL as well. There's something for you there on Prize Picks. Find your community. If you want to follow me, I'm at Stats on Fire. Go ahead and do that. You can copy lineups. You could use them as an inspiration for your own picks. You can follow partners like us in just one click. Plus, I've been talking about the early payouts. I love it. If you pick more on somebody and they crush it in the first half, you don't have to wait for the game to be over. You can cash out those winnings. Can't beat it. Make sure to check if Prize Picks is available in your state. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, let's get back to the draft. The pick is in, so the Browns are not going to be trading down. That is very good. Benjamin asks, Rob, are you live for tomorrow's draft as well or just tonight? I don't know if I'm going to be live for the whole thing tomorrow, but I will be live tomorrow for a huge chunk of it, obviously. I may be live for the 49ers pick and then sort of be on standby mode and then do an instant reaction if the 49ers end up doing something crazy. But we'll be around for sure. We'll be live for at least part of every day of the draft because that's what we do around here. If we're not going to do it, what are you following us for, right? Let's answer a couple questions here. David says, how did you choose to cover the Niners? I know you're in Connecticut. I'm a Niners fan. Always been a Niners fan despite being born and raised in Connecticut. Got a job covering the Niners for SB Nation back in 2020. Got laid off in 2023. Started my own network. And here we are, quite frankly. That's the abridged version. All right. The Cleveland Browns select KC Concepcion. So here we go. Wide receivers potentially coming off the board just before the 49ers pick. Concepcion goes to Cleveland. There's a lot of 49ers fans not happy about that one. If you want to know a little bit about KC Concepcion, let's go to the Dane Brugler draft guide. Needs work at the edges, but has the versatility and talent to be a starting slot receiver. Dane says Concepcion must cut down on the drops and fine-tune areas of his game. He's a versatile playmaker with an innate feel for getting open before the catch and creating after it. He has a receiving talent to become a starting Z or slot while providing value as a punt returner. A lot of people wanted the 49ers to take KC Concepcion. 5'11", 196, didn't run anything at the combine, didn't run at the pro day. That I don't blame anybody. No one has to set themselves up to look bad, but if you don't run, you don't run for a reason, and that is because you're not expecting to run impressive times, basically. So he didn't run for whatever that's worth. If you're watching on the stream, you could see some of the strengths. Fluid gliding athlete with adequate size, sudden in his releases to swipe away jams and quickly stack corners, efficient speed cuts to build and maintain momentum through route breaks, crafty body lean in route construction to force defenders off balance. God, you read these strengths and you're like, oh, these guys are awesome. and then you get to the weaknesses and you're like, oh, these guys suck. You can see some more of the strengths there. Used on screens and gadgets to weaponize his catch and run acceleration, 7.2 yards after catch per reception in 2025. There you go. There's some of the strength. If you want to see the weaknesses, I'll throw those up. Dropped a lot of passes and had some double catches, late to frame the football, leading to claps and body traps. See, that's the thing, though. Like, is that really, that's not unfixable. You know, like if those are your biggest weaknesses, I feel pretty comfortable with that, quite honestly. So I wouldn't hate that if I was a Browns fan. Some of those you can get on the jugs machine, man. You don't have to worry about school anymore. I feel like you can get on the jugs machine. Like some of these weaknesses falls below size requirements at outside receiver for several NFL teams. Okay, well, not this one. Muffed punt on 2025 Miami tape. All right. Yeah, he wasn't perfect all the time. Like that to me is, if that's a weakness, like, okay, I feel pretty good about that. If that's like one of the things you're writing down to ding me, so to speak, I think I'm doing okay. So, all right, we are inching ever closer to the 49ers pick. The Bears are up next. Their pick is in. 49ers ain't going to be trading up to that one. So let's see. Does Omar Cooper come off the board? I think the Bills would be a spot for Omar Cooper, quite honestly. If anybody's going to take him, I could see Josh Allen breaking into the Bills draft room and being like, if you don't draft me somebody that can catch the damn ball, I riot. Denzel Boston, obviously still on the board for a wide receiver. Maybe he interests Buffalo. It might be Caleb Lamu, fam. Just saying, it might be. Keldrick Falk still there. Zion Young still there. TJ Parker still there. A lot of edge guys there too. But, oh, man. Jermon McCoy is still there, the corner from Tennessee. Thieneman still there as well. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. There are options for the 49ers. Let's see what's going on. So the Bears pick is in, then the Bills are up, then the 49ers. Here's the thing. If you're the Niners and you're trying to trade up, you can't trade up with the Bears, obviously, because the pick is in. I don't know if Buffalo is going to trade up because if you both want wide receivers, you may want the guy that they want. So a lot of times when you call them, a lot of times the team will say, hey, who do you want? And sometimes the team will tell them, and sometimes they won't. But if they may want the same guy. Blacktop Halo says, I feel like after watching the abysmal pass rush, it has to be edge, right? I mean, wide receiver is cool too, but I just feel like they have to fix the pass rush, Young or Howell it is. I get what you're saying there. If the 49ers don't go edge, I think their justification is going to be, hey, our pass rush actually isn't as bad as it looked because we didn't have Bosa and because we didn't have Micah Williams, and we think with all those guys back, our pass rush is going to fix itself. I don't totally agree with that. But I'm just saying that might be their thinking. So again, I'm not totally saying I agree with it, but it might be their thinking. But we'll see. But I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Joser0159 YouTube channel member says his name is Kevin Concepcion, hence the KC. I don't get it. Oh, because his initials? Well, I don't know. I never heard anybody call him Kevin. I heard everybody call him KC. But if I'm wrong on that, I'm wrong. Thank you. Chris Waddell says Omar or Thiedeman, one should be there probably. The 49ers don't value safety that much, though. That's at least this regime, I should say. So I don't know if they would go safety if he was there, but we'll see. Ooh, it looks like there has been a trade. It looks like the Houston Texans are on the clock. Oh, baby. So they traded with Buffalo. They wanted to get ahead of the 49ers. So D'Amico Ryans leapfrogs the 49ers. Oh, maybe he's going edge. Does he go edge? Does he go wide receiver for an Omar Cooper? That is interesting. I could see the Bears taking Omar Cooper as well. Oh, let's see. Is Kickball Dad at the draft right now? He is. I love Kickball Dad. Sorry, I don't know if anybody follows that guy on social media, but he's hilarious. Maybe the Texans go tackle? I don't know. Let's see. The Bears obviously have to pick first. Looks like Roger Goodell's making his way out to the old podium now. Here we go, Raj. Come on. He looks like he's walking out there a little slower. Let's pick up the pace, Roger. Let's go. The Chicago Bears select. Come on. Dylan Thieneman. Ooh, that one hurts. So the Bears go safety. They go Dylan Thieneman. He is off the board. And so one potential major person that the 49ers could have taken at 27 is now off the board. Thieneman goes to Chicago. I was wondering if Ben Johnson might go wide receiver there just because, he always wants toys, but he did not. Now I'm trying to put the trade in the simulator to get Houston there. So Texans on the clock at 26 and 91 in exchange for 28, 69 and 167. 28, 69 and 167. Bills and 91, I think it was, right? Oh, great. Well, the trade thing is not going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to we're only doing the first round here, so I'll throw another trade just to make it go through here. Throw another pick. Yeah, great. Boom. Okay. So now Houston is on the clock. They are leapfrogging San Francisco. Leapfrogging San Francisco, trading with Buffalo. And we'll see where they go. Do they go edge? Do they go offensive line? Wouldn't it be funny after all these years if the 49ers were set to take a tackle in the first round of the draft and then all of a sudden Houston jumps up and goes, bam, nope. And then the 49ers go to another position and all the 49er fans freak out when he's not on the clock or when he's not the pick in the first round. Ooh, this is interesting. Thieneman was a guy that I really liked. I can't believe that he lasted as long as I'm surprised he lasted this long. Dane Brugler calls him a durable, versatile safety who could start in almost any coach's defensive scheme. He's just under 22 years old. Excuse me. He was a hybrid safety at one point. He wore a variety of hats. Dane's takeaway is that Thieneman reminds him of Justin Reed because of his scheme-friendly recognition skills and eagerness to get busy as a run defender. He projects as a durable starter and has versatility that should appeal to a variety of defensive structures. 6 feet, 200 pounds, ran a 4.35 40-yard dash. That is some athletic ability from Thieneman. Versatile athlete who can make an impact from the back end near the box or as a nickel, sees things quickly, and attacks without hesitation. 49er safeties did not do that last year. So that's why I would have been happy with him. Has the ability to stay in phase and position himself in coverage to contest windows. Good hands and hand-eye coordination to finish interceptions. Closes quickly in the run game. A lot to like there about Dylan Thieneman. So congratulations, Bears fan. You get the pick. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If what I'm seeing is right, let's see what's happening here. People are saying we traded down to 30. All right, well, a trade down to 30 is not the worst thing in the world. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. Schefter is saying that. Where is Schefter saying that? Dolphins traded up to San Francisco's turn. San Francisco get picks 30 and 90. All right, so hold on. Hold everything here. So Houston leapfrogged the 49ers, and maybe they picked who the 49ers wanted. And so once that happened, maybe the 49ers were like, you know what? We're trading down. Now, let's see if I can put this into the old trade machine here. Proposed trade. 49ers are trading with Miami. So the Niners trade 27. They get 30 and 90. I believe that was the... Yes. Okay. let's see if the old see the no they doesn't think it's going to do it. All right. Well, I'll put it through anyway. Again, we're only doing the first round here, so there you go. All right, so the Houston Texans pick is in. So that's interesting. The Niners drop down again below Buffalo and below Kansas City, and they pick up the two. They pick up 30 and 90. So they really only got one extra pick out of the whole thing. Here's Goodell. At least they stayed in the first round, though. Houston is selecting Keelan Rutledge, offensive lineman. So you know what that tells me? Sorry, I don't mean to give the Texans short shrift, but this is a Niners stream. You know what that tells me? They didn't love any of these guys. They didn't love any of the wide receivers. They didn't love any of the edge guys. That's what it tells me. That they don't care if those guys get picked. They don't see a big difference between Cooper, Boston, Bernard, any of these guys. So that's fascinating. They are willing to risk it, I guess. They don't care. And then they also don't care if now I have no idea who they're taking. This really confuses me. I don't know who the 49ers are taking. 49ers Gold says on a trade value basis, the Niners actually benefit from the trade. Now they have a third round pick. That's interesting. Yeah. B Mills is the man says feels like edge now. It's definitely possible. I would think that's probably the deepest one. The True Mata on Twitch says probably a long snapper. Punter. A lot of people going punter. So I mean, you get a third round pick, that's good, and you only move down 3 spots, so you're still in the first round. I understand the thinking with the 49ers. I think I get that. John Lynch basically said he wanted to trade down. Not every trade down is good, by the way. I know people always, if you trade down, you automatically get praised. I get that, but like, you don't always win when you trade down. Sometimes you just end up missing out on really good players. So right now, that means the 49ers would have pick 30, pick 58, pick 90, pick 127, pick 133, and pick 139. The Dolphins pick is in. So, yeah, I guess for moving down 3 spots to pick up a third round pick, okay. But again, that means you didn't really care for any of the guys that were on the board. Or you had so many guys that you think were worthy of that pick that it didn't matter who gets taken ahead of you. A lot of people going special teams with this new third round pick. You know what it is? It's going to be a running back. It's going to be a running back, right? That's absolutely what it's going to be. Speaker says, F it, trade back again, LOL. I hope that they don't. Daniel Garcia says, notice though it was announced after Dylan Thieneman got picked by Chicago. That's true. Well, and after Tennessee made their pick too. So we will learn back. I wonder, like when that actually went through. I'm trying to check the 49ers Twitter to see if there's any other comments or any other details right there. Oh, the Niners also gave up pick 138 in the trade. I thought it was just 27. But Mike Garofolo says the Niners gave up 27 and 138. All right. I don't know if I love that. But if the draft is not as deep as people say, then does it really matter that you gave up pick 138? But it does lessen the value of the trade a little bit for me. So I screwed that one up on the trade thing. Schefter had the wrong trade value in his tweet. That's not my fault. I wonder if the Niners were going to go Rutledge and then Houston jumped in and took him. I don't know. Bear Jamin says, did they also throw in Brandon Ayuk too? Yeah, I don't know. If you throw in pick 138, let me see if they've updated the 30. I don't know. I don't love that trade if that is true. I'm trying to see if there's any difference here. Keeneland Rutledge goes to the Texans. Yeah. Yeah, Schefter didn't have pick 138 in the trade. And everybody else does. So Schefter screwed that up. So the Niners go from 27 to 30. They move down 3 spots in the first round, and they move up 48 spots. Well, then not really, though, because they had other picks before that. So 30 and 90 to San Francisco, 27 and 138 to the Dolphins. It's not as great as it looked originally. Definitely not as great as it looked originally. All right, the Dolphins pick Chris Johnson, the cornerback from San Diego State, is officially a Miami Dolphin. Congratulations. Boom. There you go. So he is off the board. So the 49ers have 2 more picks before they are on the clock. Bills and Chiefs. We have seen the Chiefs trade ahead of the 40 or pick a player that a lot of 49ers fans wanted in the past. Let's see. Jermon McCoy is still sitting there for Tennessee, or out of Tennessee, I should say. The Bills pick is in. So they did not waste any time whatsoever. The Bills pick is in. Nick Ellert says the Chiefs are going to get Omar Cooper, aren't they? I would not rule it out. But you know what? The 49ers had their chance at Omar Cooper, and they passed on it. So Paps79 says, another 15 minutes, Niners trade back again and end my night. If they do, I will be furious. I will be furious if that happens. By the way, there's almost 1,800 people watching. Thank you so much, everybody. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're checking us out for the first time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're live every single weekday here on the YouTube channel. We do shows every single weekday. During the season, we do shows basically 7 days a week. Please just give us a chance. I promise you, we will continue to earn your time. Wait a minute. The Patriots traded up now? Is that what happened? Because the Patriots are on the clock and the pick is in. Did we get another interdivision trade? We did. Buffalo traded up to 28 in return for 31 and 125. Now, Schefter tweeted that, so maybe I need to hold off, but that's the second interdivision trade of the night. We had the Eagles and the Cowboys make an interdivision trade, and now the Eagles and the Bills, and the Patriots are making trades. So Buffalo trades 28 and they get 31 and 125 back. 28, 31, 125. Boom. And the Patriots pick is in. That's interesting now because everybody thinks the Patriots are trading for A.J. Brown. So you would think they wouldn't go wide receiver here, but who the hell knows? The back end of this first round is getting a little spicy. Here we go with the Patriots. The AFC champions go with Caleb Lamu. He is off the board. He cannot be taken by the 49ers because he has been taken by the New England Patriots. So Lamu is off the board. So if you did not want him to go to the 49ers, you are overjoyed right now because that is impossible. Bo Adams says the Patriots are trading for a head coach. Okay, that's funny. All right. So now let's look at what's available for the 49ers. Jermon McCoy, the corner, is still there. Now the Chiefs still have to pick. So let's, take all this with a grain of salt. Keldrick Falk is still there. Omar Cooper Jr. is still there. Avion Terrell is still there. Emmanuel McNeil Warren is still on the board. Denzel Boston is still on the board. Zion Young is there as well. Chase Basantis is there as well for the 49ers at 30. There's intriguing options for San Francisco. And again, you got to get through Kansas City here. There's still about 4 minutes to go on Kansas City's clock. I wonder if they're dealing with trades as well. There were a lot of rumors that the Niners were shopping Renardo Green. There's a lot of smoke around Ricky Pearsall and potentially if he could be on the move. The Kansas City Chiefs pick is in. All right, so the Niners are on the clock. Let's see who Kansas City, I mean, I could see them wanting to get Patrick Mahomes some more weapons. Travis Kelce obviously is getting up there. I could see them going Omar Cooper. If I had to pick, I think Kansas City is going to go Omar Cooper because you want to get Mahomes some more weapons. And he's a big play guy. Yeah, I hope I had the terms right for that. Omar Cooper's a big play guy, a tackle breaker, a guy that Andy Reid will move around. He'll find creative ways to get him the ball if that's the pick. Tim Kawakami tweeted, the 49ers almost never take tackles in the first round, but I'm sure Niner fans have noticed that they could have taken Lamu, who goes to New England after they trade up to 28. Now, Lombardi is saying that the Patriots fell for the Niners smokescreen. They had traded a spot ahead of the Niners to grab Lamu. But if the Niners wanted Lamu, they would have taken him before they traded down. So that doesn't make any sense, David Lombardi. Not everything the 49ers do is the greatest thing ever, David. Jeez. Okay, so Kansas City's pick is in. Of course, they go to commercial, which you know what? That's good because that means they're not going to go to commercial before the 49ers pick. So, yay. Now, I'm going to wait for the Chiefs pick to be announced. I'm not going to go to Twitter, so you probably will find out ahead of me who the 49ers are going to take. Oh. And that'll just be the case. Levin is texting me, obviously watching the draft from work. Come on, let's go. We waited all night for this, baby. Reward us. What are they? Reward us for our faith, right? Come on, let's go. We missed the wet blanket. People are saying the Chiefs are taking a defensive tackle. Dieter Kurtenbach just tweeted that the 49ers are taking the night off. Does that mean they traded again? Man, if you trade back again, oh my God. That would just be the ultimate kick in the nuts, wouldn't it? Don't tease me. Oh, they traded to 33. Are you kidding me? Oh, God. Come on. They're killing me. The 49ers wanted no part of the first round, apparently. Are you kidding me? Did that really just happen? Oh, God. Come on. John Lynch, what are you doing? They really didn't want Omar Cooper. They really didn't want Omar Cooper. Oh, the rage in the chat. Flipping a table. F them picks. We need Levin's tepid take on this lack of a draft pick. Maybe they really wanted Dylan Thieneman. And when he went, they were just like, there's nobody else we think is worthy of a first round pick. And so we're just going to try and get as much value as possible. The Chiefs pick is officially in. I'm trying to wait to see the return for the 49ers. And maybe the Chiefs took somebody the Niners wanted too, but I feel like the pick was announced. Here comes Goodell. Old Roger shuffling to the podium. Who do the Chiefs pick at 29? Peter Woods. Okay, so they're going defensive tackle. Chiefs going defense to get the heir apparent to Chris Jones, apparently. Peter Woods, come on down. And so now we wait. What would have been the 49ers spot. Apparently they traded with the Jets, is what people have said. I'm still trying to find something on Twitter. Jets send 33 and 179 to San Francisco for pick 30. So let's see. 33 and 179. That's what the 49ers got. Even that is like, okay. 30, pick 33, 179. That's it. I feel like these are like really basic trades that the 49ers are executing, but all right. Congratulations. The Jets are on the clock. 49ers trade back multiple times. They've got the first pick of round 2. The 49ers have the first pick of round 2. Yay. So now let's see who the Jets are going to take. So for the 49ers, you're out of the first round. You've got 3 picks left in round 1. So you obviously don't care. Yeah, they really didn't want any of these guys. I mean, Avian Terrell's a really good player. Omar Cooper Jr., to me, I thought is a playmaker. Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Like, you're at pick 30. You're telling me there's nobody that you could have picked there, but you'd be comfortable picking them at 33? Like, really? Just take the guy. Don't get cute. I don't even think they got that much value for the pick, to be honest with you. I don't know. What do you guys think of the trade? Let me know. Red and Gold Blooded says nothing against Rob, but what a waste of 3 hours. Well, I appreciate the first part of that, Red and Gold Blooded. Thank you very much. Man, that is shocking. I don't even know what to say, really. I want to see that. You know what? Speaker, you were right when you said trade back again. That return is kind of underwhelming, to be honest with you. 179 and 33. You get the first pick of the second round and you get 179. Again, if everyone says this draft is as weak as it is, why do you want all these extra picks later in the draft? I don't really understand it. Thomas, come down here. My son has come down. He is obviously clearly upset. How are you still awake on a school night, by the way? What voodoo did you work on your mother to let you stay up? How are you feeling after the 49ers trade out of the first round?
Oh, my goodness. Very bad.
So you stayed up till almost 11 o'clock here on the East Coast for nothing.
Yes. I am very, very mad.
Yeah, you're joining all of the fans in the chat. And now Omar Cooper is gone because he went to the Jets. Holy the Jets get Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper in this draft. That is a offensive overhaul for the Jets. They are getting Geno Smith some weapons, man. Holy moly. All right, well, I love you, but go to bed.
Okay. How funny would it be if the Jets took a fullback?
They did it once before. Omar Cooper Jr. and Kenyon Sadiq to the Jets. That is, they're going to have some explosiveness. Oh, my goodness. Way to go. Michelle is feverishly texting me. Oh, no one is happy. No one is happy right now. The Jets get the explosive offensive pieces that a lot of people were hoping the 49ers get. Again, like what? Who are you getting that's going to be so much good later in this draft? Like I'm stunned that they traded. I get one trade down, but to keep doing it and to trade all the way out of the first round, I really don't get it. If you're going to take a guy at 33, just take him at 30. Like, what are we doing? That rubs me the wrong way. I really don't understand that. You know, like, also, nobody cares. Like, you took this guy too high. If they're a good player, nobody cares. Nobody's ever going to bring it up again. You know, it's not going to be a thing. Just take the guy. You can get too cute. All right. You can get too cute. And I think they are getting too cute. And like, yeah, okay, like Brisbee Life says they're going for a guard. That's fine. Just take him in the first round. Like, it's okay to draft a guard in the first round. You know, I feel like it's like, oh, we don't want to get criticized by the draft people for taking this position too early. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe I just wanted them to take Omar Cooper more than I thought, but we need some explosiveness on offense. And I thought that he could have provided that. Now, look, maybe they can get another player later. I don't know, but I really like what the Jets did. I think that Sadiq and Cooper, I think that's going to be a hell of fun to watch. I really do. Michelle, I think, is going to pop in here shortly. I'm sure she's going to be very gentle to the 49ers. The pick is in for the Buffalo Bills as we get here down to the final two picks. Joser 0159 says, how many picks do the 49ers have after the trade backs? We'll get to that in 1 second. Michelle Majuk is here. Michelle, your reaction.
I was like, if they keep trading back and they get out of the first round, Stats is going to blow his brains and throw his computer out the window.
I mean, like I was just saying, if you like somebody enough to pick them at 33, just pick them at 30. Like, what are we doing?
Especially because they got nothing for this. What was it? Pick 169 or 179? Either way, it's like they had to really not like anyone here, and they wanted some time to figure out who they like to take out of this group. Maybe they wanted the extra night, but I'm shocked they didn't take Amari Cooper. Aren't you?
Yes, I like, as I'm getting more emotional about this, I'm realizing I think that's who I wanted them to take. Someone asked what picks the 49ers have. Let me bring it up really quick. Tomorrow I'll make a fancy graphic for all of this, but the Niners have 3 day 2 picks. Pick 33, pick 58, and pick 90. And they have 4 picks on day 3, 127, 133, 139, and 179. Great. You've got a bunch more picks in a draft that's not that deep. I'm not sure that was the best way to go, Michelle.
Listen, if they want to take a defensive back, there's going to be top guys there in the second round because they're going to have now the first pick in the second round, correct?
Yes, they have the first pick in the second round.
If Jermod McCoy is sitting there out of Tennessee, the corner, I think that would be a great pick for them. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety. These are both guys I thought they could have went with there if they just stayed put at 27 or stayed put at 30. I 100% thought they were taking Omar Cooper Jr. once they moved back, but apparently that's not the case.
Keldrick Falk just went to the Titans.
The Bills traded back again?
Apparently, because Tennessee just took Keldrick Falk. So,
okay,
man, that was an edge guy that I wouldn't have been upset if the 49ers took. There's the picks on the board. So the end of that first round all of a sudden got crazy.
I mean, yeah, the Bills certainly hate making first round picks. Apparently, they love to move back. So they already moved back 3 times, right, in this one draft.
If I'm Josh Allen, I was saying I thought Josh Allen was going to break the door down and like, get me Omar Cooper, please. Get me something that can help.
Well, what's interesting though is the 49ers had in Omar Cooper, right, for a top 30 visit. They must not have liked what they saw. I mean, if they're willing to move back and not take him, then clearly they were not, in love with him, which fine by me. Like, if you didn't think he's going to be great, don't take him. But
Cole Mesa says the only explanation is drafting a guard and not wanting a 5th-year option. But why would you not want a 5th-year option? That 5th-year option is a good thing. And if you take a guard at 30 as opposed to 33, are you really going to get criticized that much? Like, do you really care about that? I just didn't think. I thought they passed up some potentially good players, and the return they got for these picks, I didn't think was like overwhelming enough to get you to move, in my opinion.
I was absolutely fine with the 27 to 30. I thought that was great. Grabbing a 3rd rounder, I love that. But then moving again out of the first round. And yeah, I mean, you want that 5th-year option. So like to lose that as well, all for just a very late pick. That one didn't make sense to me. But again, like I'm thinking that maybe the guy they wanted went just ahead of them or something, or all the guys on the top of their list. And they said, all right, we have a bunch of these guys all in the same tier. So we're willing to move down, take the extra time, the extra day, figure out who we want to take, talk it all together instead of having 8 minutes to figure out our next steps, right? I'm guessing that has to be it. Like they wanted the extra time to figure out who they wanted from this next tier of guys because they didn't get their picks they wanted.
Heard him says we traded back again and only picked up a 5th round pick. It's funny, right? Everyone said, oh, they traded all these 1st round picks for Trey Lance and it was so terrible. They didn't have a 1st round pick. And here we have a 1st round pick and we trade it multiple times and get out of the 1st round completely.
And then the Eagles getting Makai Lemon is sick for them. I mean, it's not good for the 49ers and, them being an NFC, a big competition there. But for all the rumor, we think AJ Brown's going to be gone and it's like, ooh, what is that offense going to do? Makai Lemon's so good. He's so good. Him with Devonta Smith, they're going to be just fine.
The Eagles, this is what they do, man. They don't wait around. They go and get guys that they love. That was, sorry, I'm losing my voices. I've been hosting this thing solo for 2 hours and 50 minutes. The Eagles move was big. What did you make of the Rams trading and getting Ty Simpson?
We got to love that, right? Because right now is a time where you're going all in to win one more Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. And instead of them grabbing another piece to help them out in that way, they went with the quarterback of the future, right? But it's weird because teams that desperately need a quarterback right now, and the Cardinals and the Steelers, like it's not even like they were dying to go get him, right? The Browns, there's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback, and they were like, yeah, we need a quarterback now, but we don't even want Ty Simpson. And the Rams were like, yeah, we'll hold him for the future. So it's not even like he's a young quarterback either. So I'm happy the Rams took him as a 49ers fan. If he's going to work out somewhere, could it be with Sean McVay, with Puka Nacua and whoever else they have in the future? Absolutely. But I'm not scared of Ty Simpson personally. Like I don't think that's like getting Aaron Rodgers, right? And sitting behind Brett Favre. That's not the situation we're in right now.
That's what I said. And I was like, great. That means one player that I want the 49ers to end up with is still going to be available potentially because there was no way in hell they were taking Ty Simpson. So It was all good there.
But tackles went flying off the board. My Steelers hate the pick. They reached on like the 7th best tackle in the board instead of just taking one of the really good defender that was still sitting there. Hated that. But apparently, did you hear that? They called Makai Lemon saying they're going to take him if he's sitting there. And then the Eagles took him right before.
Bummer.
Don't love that. Don't love that.
The Seahawks pick is in, the final pick of round 1. Blacktop Halo says, well, at least we don't have to see them continue their 1st round excellence. Also nice to see the hostess with the mimosas. I like that. And of course, she has a mimosa on the program.
Yeah, I do. Of course.
You'll have one tomorrow when we do the show together.
Maybe I just won't stop from now until tomorrow morning. I'll just keep going.
Just get an IV at this point.
Yeah.
Oklahoma Niners 212 says 2nd round. It's up from here. Bad juju in the 1st round history. I mean, look, I get it that, the 49ers in the 1st round don't have the greatest history, but that doesn't mean they can't ever make a good 1st round pick either. And look, maybe all the picks they're going to make from this point are going to be good. What the hell do I know? And I fully admit that maybe some of my anger here is just the fact that I've been on the air for 3 hours and they didn't actually make a freaking pick. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that we'd have somebody to talk about.
I almost just gave up the Seahawks pick and I would have gotten a lot of trouble, but I know I like who the Seahawks picked. Anyways,
see that?
Yes.
Michelle's a researcher for now ESPN, formerly NFL Network, so she has all the details. Normally, in the past, I've gotten a cryptic text from Michelle. Ooh, you'll like this pick. Most of the time I did in the moment and then ended up hating it once I actually saw the player.
That's fair. No, I did. Like when they kept trading back, I was like, please don't trade out of the 1st because I know that you've been, doing this and you've been amazing all night long on your own. I feel bad. Where's Levin at?
Everybody's working on the whole damn network. It's unbelievable.
Oh, no.
All right. The Seahawks have the fewest picks of anybody in the entire draft. They have just 4 draft picks right now. They didn't trade down, though. 49ers had 6. They had to trade down multiple times. But the Super Bowl champions say, no, we like a player. We are making a pick. And I'm waiting for it. Come on, let's go. I don't know who these guest pickers are, man. Speed it up. Let's go. I
Oh
know
my,
it's
they are taking forever to make the picks, and then there's only 8 minutes between, so all the picks are flying in, and then
yeah.
this was a mess. They might go back to 10 minutes next year because
Jadarian Price, the running back.
yeah.
Oh, the running back Love's teammate. That makes perfect sense for the Seahawks.
Yeah, they needed a running back. So I got excited because for fantasy, I love that landing spot because Zach Charbonnet tore his ACL against the 49ers, right, in that divisional round. And they lost Kenneth Walker. So now Jadarian Price is going to get a chance right away to be the lead guy there. And they really needed to bring in a running back. So this class is weak, and the drop off after Love is drastic. And with Price, you don't even know because he's never had to be a lead back, right? He's always very little workload there, but he is explosive, and it does have all the skill sets to be a starting running back in the league. It's all you don't know what you're going to get out of him. But I really like Price. I think it's a nice pick by the Seahawks.
You know, it's funny. On the one hand, you could say this guy's not a proven workhorse. On the other hand, you could say this guy's fresh as hell, right?
Yeah.
So there's that part of it.
And they will get Charbonnet back at some point in the season, right? So then you have Charbs and Price together. That's now another nice backfield. And then they didn't pay up for Kenneth Walker, even though a first round pick is pretty pricey. So I would love to know the difference between what Price is going to end up costing compared to Walker.
That is true. I don't know, actually, off the top of my head. I know that Love got like the third most guaranteed money of any rookie running back because he was picked so high. Slick Vic.
Or any running back, not even rookie.
Yeah, right. Thank you for the super chat. YouTube channel member says, it'll be fine, Rob. It seems after signing Mike Evans, wide receiver wasn't an immediate need to them. We've wanted them to play Watkins and the young guys. Yes, but they had every opportunity to play those guys last year, and they didn't do it. So they're telling you that they don't like those guys. So if that is the case, get new guys.
And Mike Evans is 33 years old, right? With injury issues. Like, I didn't think they should go wide receiver in the first round, so I'm fine with them not going Omar Cooper. I'm just shocked that he was sitting there for them at 30. After them trading down from 27 to 30, gaining that third round pick, and then them taking a wide receiver, I actually would have been down for that. I've been like, okay, they gained that extra third round pick. They took one of the top, I think he's the fourth best wide receiver in this class. That sounds great to me, but we have to trust the team. They had him in. They did their work on him. They clearly decided that's not the guy they wanted to go for. So I'm just going to have to trust them that they saw something differently.
If you're wondering about the Niners' current picks, again, 33, that's a second round, 58, that's a second round, 90 in the third round, and then 4 fourth-round picks, 127, 133, 139, and 179. Sorry, 3 fourth-round picks, 179 is in the fifth round. So 2 seconds, a third, 3 fourths, and a fifth. That is what the 49ers have after all the wheeling and dealing. It is cool that they have the first pick right off the bat tomorrow, but yeah, we're going to have to go through it. Who do you think? Do you think Jermod McCoy is the best player available at this point, the corner from Tennessee?
I do, but the unfortunate thing is the injury history, right? And we already have that issue with so many players. I do think Colton Hood out of Tennessee could be an interesting choice. I personally would love Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Oh, Thieneman was really dropping there.
I know,
was excited.
So close.
I was getting excited there for a second. The Bears got him. I would have rather the 49ers moved up and took him, Dylan Thieneman. I always say his last name different. Thieneman. I don't know which one it is, but would have loved him. If they go guard, I'm guessing it's going to be Chase Besantis. I think that would be an okay pick.
Good pass blocker.
Yeah, there's still Zion Young, Howell, TJ Parker there for edge. Like, there's plenty of guys. And I really think at this point, because of all these guys are kind of probably in the same tier for them, they just wanted the extra 24 hours to figure out who they want to take. And I don't think that's the worst decision. If that's how their board fell, if they thought, Amari Cooper is in the same tier as all these guys and whoever else was sitting there at that time, I'm okay with them extra day to figure out who they want to take.
Denzel Boston, if you're just looking at wide receivers.
No.
Jeremy Bernard is there still. Chris Bell's coming off an injury. Chris Basil is the guy that I'm intrigued by. He's still there as well. So, yeah, that's what the 49ers have. It's bold move. because remember last year they went into the draft and they were like, we got to get 5 starters out of this thing. This year, John Lynch said this week, like, we don't have a ton of needs. And this kind of shows that they believe it because they had opportunities to take a guy and they backed out of every one of them.
I think if they go wide receiver in the second or third round, it should be Jeremy Bernard. For fantasy, he's not going to be exciting, but he can be a really stable, consistent wide receiver right off the bat to start. So that would be my next favorite wide receiver that they could take. And I think he'll be sitting there for them, not at 33, not with the first pick tomorrow, but I think he'll be sitting there at 58 for them tomorrow if they wanted to go that route. I would not like Denzel Boston. I don't want them to take him at 33.
Is it just this lack of speed that you don't like?
I mean, the production only came once he was bigger and taller and older than everyone else at school. That doesn't typically translate to good production in the NFL. When you're just winning because you're bigger than everyone else. Yeah, for Boston.
Boston builds his speed with smooth, long strides and naturally adjusts with the hand strength of a ball winner, which should quickly earn him the trust of an NFL quarterback, says Dane Brugler. With his ability to win inside or outside his game has shades of 2025 Houston Texans draft pick Jaden Higgins. Okay.
I mean, that's not great. Yeah.
Like, really? All right. I don't know about that. What I was saying, and you're going to hear me say this tomorrow too, I don't like the way you just described Jeremy Bernard. I want a difference maker, an impact player. That's what the 49ers don't have. They're depending on all their old guys to be their impact players. Give me somebody, even if the floor is bust out of the league, take a guy with the highest of high ceilings. Give me the Michelle Maju fantasy home run swing pick.
What's funny is I'm looking at ESPN right now with Jeremy Bernard. Matt Miller's pro comp is Deebo Samuel for him. So maybe he has a higher ceiling than I'm giving him credit for.
That's interesting. Well, now I'm going to be up all night studying Jeremy Bernard highlights.
There you go. It's more just about he doesn't have the ceiling of a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, right? That's what I meant. Like, he's never going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league. That's not his potential. Like some of these guys who went in the first round obviously have that potential. Probably not going to happen. But with Jeremy Bernard, I think he's like a really safe guy to take where he's going to help out your team and he'll be able to help out your team pretty soon too. Like, you're not going to have to wait on him, which I like.
Fano ZZ says, last time Lynch said we didn't have many needs, he took Jake Moody in the 3rd round. That is very, very true. That's why I was a little scared.
What's crazy is that John Lynch admitted that, we haven't really had a need to draft for starters because we've been so stocked. It's like, well, maybe now that's why your roster sucks, because you were just not taking this seriously. Like, I will say, the thing with Howie Roseman and the Eagles, it seems like they're always on top of it. Like, they always have a replacement for these guys leaving. Oh, even when their line was so good, offensive line was so good, they were still taking offensive linemen because, I mean, I will say the 49ers did take Ricky Pearsall when we thought that wasn't a need, and it ended up being a pretty big need, right? And it just hasn't worked out because he hasn't been on the field. But you gotta. John Lynch admitting that was crazy.
I can't believe they said it out loud. Even if they believe it.
I know, that was wild.
It's one thing to have that belief, which is obviously terrible, but to be so unaware of how that sounds when you say it out loud is staggering to me, but that's what they did. Kyle just wanted to get back into the 3rd round so he could take a running back.
Absolutely. Emmett Johnson. Let's go. That's what I want. Listen, if they take Emmett Johnson, 90th overall, I'm going to be pumped from Nebraska. You can watch his highlights tonight too. Yeah. Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama and Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska, and Eli Stowers out of Vanderpump. I do love Vanderpump Rules. Out of Vanderbilt.
He would be potentially a game-breaking guy, right? Athletic freak.
If he's sitting there at 58, I think he should be their pick. Listen, even if they took him at 33, I wouldn't be upset. I don't think that's the route they're going to go. But at 58, if he's sitting there, Eli Stowers, I think they should be taking him. And he could, I mean, if Kittle's not ready to go, then you put him out there immediately.
The only thing is, does he block well enough for Kyle to take him?
Oh, no, he's a bad blocker.
So that's why I don't know if that would be the pick. I also agree with Brett Davis, who says Sam Roush. If they took him later in the draft, I would be okay with that. But again, at least with Stowers, it's a guy that has a chance to be explosive, a chance to make a game-changing type of play. Remember, the 49ers didn't have a 20-yard run until deep into the season last year. And the fastest guy all year for the 49ers was D. Winters on a pick-6 interception return. Like, they desperately need to add some juice to this lineup. And Stowers, even though he's a bad blocker, he would add juice.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about the blocking thing. I'm really excited about Eli Stowers. Like, I'm a fantasy girl, right? So when I'm talking, sometimes I mix up the two things. But Eli Stowers, I think, could be an elite receiving tight end. I think for fantasy, I'd love it. And if he lands with the 49ers, I think he could be a good receiving tight end. But yeah, I don't know if he's a guy Shanahan would take. Now, maybe I don't know if like he's a willing blocker. Like, that's something I have to look more into. Like, is he a willing blocker and just kind of struggles at it and he could be taught up, or is it just something like dude doesn't want to do?
I honestly don't get me wrong. There's a technique to blocking. I understand all of that, but I also think a lot of it is like, do you want to do it? Do you just put in the effort to do it? Not all of it. There's a skill. I'm not trying to downplay it or anything, but like, you also got to have the right mentality. Chris Waddell, YouTube channel member, says, Michelle, thoughts on Elijah Surratt? He's my draft crush. Who's their fan?
I think if they want to add wide receiver, I think they would have went Omar Cooper. Do you think they're still going to go? I mean, Elijah Surratt, out of Indiana, can catch some touchdowns, big boy. Like, I wouldn't hate it, that's for sure, but I just don't know if he would see the field this year. That's my thing. It's like, are we willing to take a guy in the second round that Kyle Shanahan's not going to get out in the field unless Mike Evans were to get hurt? I don't know. But I mean, I would not hate that pick, that's for sure.
The number one thing you will hear if they were to take Surratt is, he played for Mike Shanahan, because Mike Shanahan was his offensive coordinator, not related to the Shanahan family at all.
I will say, when I was doing research on Indiana and I saw Mike Shanahan, I was like, there's no way that this is Mike Shanahan. And I was like, wait, I'm so confused. I looked it up and I was like, is he related? And Wikipedia says they are not related.
Nope. I checked it out too, because I was reading the draft guide and I was like, that's not a thing. Mike Shanahan is not coordinating a college offense right now. He is not. I was correct in that. Let's see. Strawberry React says, do we think they want to take a guard but didn't want the guard in the first? Could it be Pregnon or Basantis with pick 33? I wouldn't be unhappy with a guard. So either one of those guys I would be happy with. Basantis would be odd, though, because he's a pass blocker first. And usually the 49ers tend to favor offensive linemen that are run blockers first and then kind of deal with their pass blocking. But I don't know. Maybe they're changing it up. Who knows?
I mean, either way, it's almost like they put themselves in the spot that they have to go guard with one of these next three picks, whether it be 33, 58, or 90, right? Because right now, Connor Colby, their 7th round pick from last year, is sitting there as the projected starter at left guard for the 49ers right now, according to our lads, the depth chart site. So maybe it's Robert Jones that they signed in free agency, but either way, like, that left guard spot wide open.
Yeah, Brett Toth is there as well. Let's welcome in Kyle Posey of Niners Nation. KP, what's up?
Long time no talk.
How are you?
Couple Niners Nations over here. What do we got? It's a reunion right here.
What
how
a
surprised
waste!
How surprised we're right.
3 hours of my life
for 3 hours and 8 minutes and 15 seconds to talk about nada.
How do you think they did with all these trades?
I feel like they met out pretty well, and I say that because I think 90 gives them an ability to maneuver, right? Whether that's, hey, somebody at 58, or let's say they're on the clock at 58, and somebody that they really, really like, well, now they can use those 4th round picks and still have 90 in their back pocket. Or they're sitting at 90 and somebody they like jumps up to the 80s or the 70s. Now they can use those 4th round picks and get into a situation where they can move up a little bit and just it gives them the ability to grab a quality player when I don't think they were really going to have a chance with 4 of those 4th round picks. So I think it's pretty good deal.
All right. I could, maybe you're changing my mind on that. Michelle.
Oh, you hate it, Rob.
I did. I will get into it in a sec. Michelle, I know you got to hop off. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, guys. Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow. I'll have another mimosa.
Yes. Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Bye, y'all.
KP, I don't know where you are. There you go. I just feel like whoever you could pick at 33, why don't you just pick them at 30?
Right. So my pushback to like my argument would be, well, why wouldn't you want the 5th-year option? Like, why wouldn't you want the ability to, like, you're basically saying, I don't think any of these dudes are good enough. So, okay, you're going to move back to 33. Now you lose the leverage of having that 5th-year option of player cost control. So that would be the pushback. But other than that, in my mind, they are dead set on 1, 2, or 3 players. Or my second thought was when they traded back a second time, maybe they were under the impression that, okay, Caleb Loman will be there. We'll just trade back, pick up another pick. He wasn't. And they're like, uh-oh, no, now what? And that's how they got out of the to pick 33. So I feel like it could go a couple different ways.
Right. Like, oh, now we were not prepared for this. That's what Michelle said. Maybe they were like, they just wanted the extra time to kind of get their heads on. Do you think they wanted Thieneman and then once he went, they were like, we're out?
I don't know. That's tough because if that's the case, if you really wanted Thieneman, why not use one of those 4s to trade up? Because the Eagles, it took nothing for them to trade up 3 spots. So if you really wanted him, you would have jumped the Bears because it was obvious the Bears, based on their offseason moves, that they were going to go safety. So I feel like he was very obtainable if they really wanted to get him.
I was a little worried when D'Amico jumped ahead of them. I'm like, oh, man, what the hell? I don't like when teams jump in front of the 49ers. But, yeah, everything that you're saying makes sense. I think I'm just mad that I spent 3 hours of my life in it.
Right. Do you have any idea of who they're thinking?
I don't know.
Like where would you go? Is it wide receiver, edge still? Because that's the only 2 positions people have been talking about for 4 months for the 49ers, which means there's no chance that that's who they're taking.
Right. Well, I never bought into the Lamu. I know he wasn't there anyway, but I was like, once everybody started saying Caleb Lamu, I was like, that's definitely not the guy.
No shot. Yeah. Everybody had him mocked.
Yeah. All the national guys, all of a sudden, in all their final mocks, McShay had him, Florio had him, Peter Schrager had him taking Lamu. A bunch of other people did too. I don't know if they leaked that or what the deal was, but I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
To
me, offensive tackle was just never a real thing.
Agreed.
That's not what they do. They've shown it. Chris Forrester said, I told Kyle, don't draft offensive linemen early. Get guys who can score touchdowns. Like, he's on record for saying that.
They have been as honest as they could be about all that stuff, about their whole philosophy there. What about Keldrick Falk?
I loved him. I was a big fan of him. And so to see Saleh go get his guy is not surprising because he's very Eric Armstead-y, where just A-plus run defender, might not ever turn into that big sack guy, but he's how you get to those passing downs. So I thought that would be somebody that the 49ers would covet. But again, if they're moving back, he's 21 and they've had that player on their roster multiple times. So maybe they just didn't want to go down that route. Maybe they felt like he was too similar to Michael Williams, who's another guy who's a tweener or whatever. I thought that was me.
Sorry, I forgot that I didn't update my final thing. I forgot that he went to Tennessee there because they moved back in. Yeah, so then if that's the case, Zion Young would be a possibility at edge. I know he's got some traits.
He does have some. Yes, he does have some off the field stuff, and that's probably why he might fall a little further.
The Niners usually don't go for those guys. Like, they really have avoided anybody with any kind of issue.
Big character team.
Yeah, definitely. So that may take him off the board. Maybe they do go guard. Chase Besantis is there, but he's more of a pass blocker first, isn't he?
Yeah, and to me, like, that's what they need, right? If you watch Spencer Burford, as much as he flashed, like, he could not protect the quarterback. And Chase Besantis, what does he do? He protects the quarterback. So that would make a ton of sense. I like Besantis over Lomu. I liked him over some of the other guys who went in the first round. So I think there's value here with Besantis. And, of course, he plays the position the 49ers need.
I did a film breakdown Johnny Dell and I did a film breakdown. He did most of the breakdown of Trent Williams after they renegotiated the deal. And one of the points that Johnny made was he was having to help out the left guard a lot.
It was insane. It was wild. I'm glad Johnny saw that because Trent was doing two people's job at once. So when you're like seeing some of his stats last year and people are talking about, oh, he's getting older, he's getting beaten. Nope, he's just having to cover for the left guard. Like that's what a lot of the plays were. So another reason why you might want to invest. And it could be the left guard they signed from the Dolphins is blanking my mind right now. Dolphins and Cowboys. Robert, no, that's not. Yeah, that is. So maybe like a veteran guy will just erase 20% of the issues that Burford has, and you're hoping that that's sufficient enough. They've proven that they could hum on offense regardless of who's blocking. I know a lot of people are going to say like, what about the Super Bowl? But all season, nobody had an issue with Spencer Burford playing, or nobody had an issue with the offensive line in 2023 when they're scoring 40 a game.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I completely agree with you. That's why, yeah, maybe they could go guard, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they didn't. But I think it's got to be either wide receiver or edge. I think maybe guard if they really love somebody, but edge or wide receiver, that's who they pick over and over again, especially edge.
It is like that's their baby, right? And Lynch said for 10 years, like this is what we've been doing. This has been our style. So would not be surprised. And it might be a little reach, but I think some of the reaches are off the board, and that kind of saves the 49ers. But Gabe Akers from Illinois might be a little rich for him. That's a guy who, maybe that's a 58, but wide receiver, Denzel Boston, everybody's in love with him, or not everybody's in love with him, but it seems like the 49ers have been infatuated with him. And that is as close to it, like a Mike Evans comp as it gets in this draft. So I think he's actually better than quite a few of the wide receivers that went tonight. I have him lumped into the same group as I have him wide receiver 3. So like he's a rock star to me. Yeah, I think he's better than Lemon. I think he's better than Cooper Jr. I think he's better than who else went? Jordan Tyson. So yeah, I'm pretty high on Boston. I think he's going to be a much better pro than he showed at the collegiate level.
What do you make of Chris Brazzell? He's got some traits that make you go, damn.
Sure. Yeah, no, he's incredibly fast and he's incredibly nimble. So like when you're that big and you're that fast and you're that agile, why are you available right now? Like what in the world? And supposedly he has some off-field stuff too. That's not very good. But as a player, I think he goes out of his way to avoid contact. And when that's not the case, contact kind of ruins his day too. So when you're not very physical, my eyes tend to look another direction. So I wanted to like him, but the more I watched, the more I came away thinking, okay, like he's going to be available at the end, whether it's in the first, into the second for a reason. So not too high on Brazzell.
Not physical, not happening
especially in this offense. Yeah. He would never play.
Well, plenty of company in that area too.
Also true. Join the lines back here.
Right. Then Jacob Cowing and Jordan Watkins like, whoa. If anybody's not going to play, it's going to be us.
Somebody just said any love for Stribling. Now we're getting somewhere. That is my favorite wide receiver in the draft. I'm not saying that is the best wide receiver in the draft to watch. That is my favorite wide receiver in the draft. I've been saying that since January. He came out of nowhere. Then he goes out and runs a 4.3. And that's when I gave myself a pat on the back. I think he's legit. I would take him at 58, no hands down, like no questions asked. To me, he's a player, like he is the type of player that you want to take. Like he is the guy who's going to run full speed into a linebacker if you need him to, and like have no issue doing it. Like he's a great blocker. He loves to go over the middle, does not go down on first contact, and can absolutely fly. Like plays very, very fast. He's a little older, and I think that's a little bit of the reason, some of the reason that he doesn't get a lot of hype. But in his offense, he wasn't like they didn't throw him the ball enough. I wish I could ask Lane Kiffin, like, why the hell are you not giving this guy the ball? Because he's good. He played at Oklahoma State, I believe, before, and he was their go-to guy and did a lot of the same things, like did them at a high level. So I'm a big Stribling guy. I like Stribling over essentially any second-round receiver outside of Chris Bell.
6'2" and 1/8, ran a 4.36 with a 1.53 10-yard split.
And it plays like that too.
Anything about him, not gonna lie. So, but I trust your evaluation. So I'm just adding guys to the list of YouTube highlights I have to watch after this because everybody knows that's the best way to scout players, especially for wide receivers. I like doing that for wideouts because like those are fun highlights to watch.
I mean, you can tell if they're good by their highlights. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I always say this. I always say, let me watch your show me your best plays. And I better see something that jumps off the screen. If those are your best plays, like what is the thing about you that pops right away for me? And if you don't have anything, then I'm not really interested in you.
Right.
I don't know if
you should be able to tell pretty. And I feel like that about even the top players. If you can't tell, if you're watching a full game and you can't tell that they're elite or you can't tell that they're an NFL player by the end of the first quarter, it's probably time to move on. And I'm very serious about that.
I agree too. Like you can see it. What did you, this is not a 49ers question, but I'm just fascinated. What did you make of the Jets draft? The Jets going Sadiq and then also taking, no, I can't remember. They took Sadiq, they took Omar Cooper, and then they took David Bailey. That is a pretty damn good first round.
So I wonder, so David Bailey to me has like a clear ceiling, probably high floor, but a clear ceiling. But again, like in this draft, I don't think there's any like high quality blue chip players. There's definitely not any like rare purple chip players. So I understand why they took David Bailey just to be safe. I am actually not an Omar Cooper guy, like at all. So I was hoping somebody else took him so I didn't have to sit here and pretend like the 49ers did a good thing. I think he's going to be a little more limited than people think. But Sadiq, man, I think he's going to be pretty good. It's just it might take some time, but that athleticism is very real, and he runs by everybody. He's going to grow into – he's going to figure out how to be a better blocker, but the baseline, like the athletic traits, you can't teach a lot of the things that he does. And, I mean, the odds that he has a big play in multiple games is very high. So I'm a little – I know he's a tight end, but I am kind of surprised still that he fell.
Last thing I want to get you out of, I felt like the Rams made the early story of the first round. Ty Simpson at pick 13. Were you surprised? Are you happy as, you know, in terms of looking at things from a 49ers perspective? What was your reaction to that?
He's awful. He's not good. I've watched plenty of him. So to me, think if Brock Purdy couldn't run, like how would that look? If Brock Purdy didn't have the mobility. So Simpson doesn't have a great arm. And a lot of what the Rams were able to do over these past couple of years is because Stafford's able to bail him out of awful situations because he has a bazooka on his right shoulder. That is not Simpson. Like Simpson's going to get in trouble. I've seen him like one hop 15-yard out routes and leap throws short. I think he's going to be okay. I will say this. If Simpson ends up being the starter, the Rams will never win a division title.
Oof. Okay. That's good news for us.
Yeah. Like I'm so surprised. I'm not surprised it's quarterback and they do this every season, but 4 years from now, it's going to be like, oh, we need to get Ty more help. Well, no, you took a first round quarterback. He's a guy who's supposed to propel. He's this guy supposed to raise the talent around him and couldn't do that this year. In fact, Ryan Williams was thought of as the same level of player as Jeremiah Smith. And we saw how that worked out. Some of that is to do with Ryan Williams, but a lot of it, I think, is to do with him just playing a quarterback. So I did not think that about Darnold. I want to push back on that. No, Darnold playmaker / big arm. And I am a fan of variance. So I don't think Simpson has the same kind of variance that Darnold has.
Darnold has a good arm.
I think he has a very good arm.
It's funny because I pulled up the Brugler draft guide for Simpson, and I was reading all this stuff about, you know, his processing and everything, and I was like, that sounds a lot like Brock Purdy. I had the exact same reaction you did. I didn't realize he wasn't as mobile as Brock.
No, he can't move, man. I don't think he can move.
Why the hell what was Sean McVay thinking?
I don't know. I'm very shocked. I know there was a report earlier that said they told him that he was a first-round pick, and that's why the Simpson came out. So maybe they just felt bad about their promise and felt like they had to take him. Maybe a little guilty conscience there from Les Snead. But I would feel so much better going into a draft and grabbing like any player who can contribute right away. I know the Rams will have a very good roster, and they came into this draft probably as a team to beat in the NFC West.
Yep.
But Simpson does not set them up for the future in the way that I think that they think he does. So I don't know. I cannot answer what he does because I don't think he has many, if any, first round qualities.
When they traded for that first round pick with Atlanta last year, I was just sitting there like, oh God, a team in our division.
Like they're going to get a star. It was inevitable.
Yeah. I hope they screwed it up. Joe JC says, understandable to trade back when there are so few first-round grades. Still, how many year one contributors are we looking at? 2, maybe 3.5. That's a fair question.
You're looking to get one either at 33, 58, or 90, like for sure. And that's why I say 90 is important because now you can move up from 90 to the 70s with those additional fourth-round picks. So 2 has to be the bare minimum. They need players who can play right away. Like they need, and another reason why O-line didn't really make any sense because where is that player going to play? So I think it has to be 2. 3 would be great. And with as many picks as they have, there's certainly a chance that fourth rounder, one of the fourth rounders, can turn into a day one starter, which they've done before. Malik Mustafa was a starter right away.
Yep.
But I think 2 has to be the floor.
Look, they got a 5th round pick. They're good. They're going to get a starter out of it.
He's going to be the best player in the draft.
Probably. Jesse Morris says, I really want a Chris Johnson, Kyle. What's the chance we get a DB?
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to pull the trigger on Chris Johnson because he did seem like that kind of player. He tested a lot better than many thought, but he's just a really good football player. A DB's coming. I think with the additional picks, right? That's probably where 90 is coming. The best safety available. Maybe in that range. To me, AJ Halsey is as much of a Raheem Morris safety as it gets in this draft. And maybe I think he's worthy of 58, but I don't think the NFL does. So he's like small-ish. He's not he doesn't have the amazing speed. But they also took Xavier Watts at the end of the second round last season. And that was a player who ended up having a very good rookie year. So Halsey reminds me of Xavier Watts just with that ball hawk mentality and always living around the ball. And I think Raheem Morris is going to value that. So I think that DB is coming, that safety is coming in the third round.
In Raheem, I trust with that, man. I feel like
he's a DB guy. That's his baby.
Yeah, let him go. I do think that there's also part of them that wants to say, well, you've got Marquise Siegel and you've got Malik Mustafa, and now we've got Raheem. Let's let Raheem work with these guys, and maybe he could fix them.
If they draft Denzel Boston, I was watching 2024. Washington versus Kansas State. Denzel Boston in the slot against Marcus Siegel. He made Siegel fall on a route and caught a touchdown. Siegel's Kansas State tape was not good. He got better as the year went on. He played sparingly, obviously, but he would have to take a jump for them to really trust him, I think. I think realistically, Siegel's probably a special teamer, again, unless he just takes a giant jump in year 2 for him to be trustworthy, I feel like. Again, at the same time, he played nickel, so he's playing out of position. So there's another 49ers thing that they do. But again, I don't know if you can say, okay, we feel good about Siegel. Jair Brown, like that's who really you need to look at. Like, how does Raheem Morris view Jair Brown? Because if he thinks he's serviceable, then they're probably not going to draft a DB unless they're thinking about the year ahead because he's under contract for one more year.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, all right, well, great. You like Jair Brown, but he's going to be a free agent anyway. It's going to be, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I get day 2 and day 3 are going to be a hell of a lot more interesting now, but we got through the tough part because as frustrating as it was for them not to pick anybody, now they got a bunch of picks.
Yeah, they got. We went from thinking this is going to be a quick draft to by tomorrow, if they trade again, we're going to be here all Saturday.
Every beat writer is mad now because they have all these extra picks. Kyle Kami
plans for Saturday.
Yeah, Kyle Kami was basically like begging them not to acquire any more picks because they didn't want.
Kyle probably did it just to piss the media off. Honestly,
I wouldn't be shocked. Oh man, well, KP, thank you so much for hopping in, man. It's good to talk to you again. Good to see you again. Check out Kyle's work. Obviously, you all know him, NinersNation.com. Also, the Strike and Gold podcast. Here, you got a YouTube channel now.
Yeah, trying to hop into this YouTube thing and show our faces. Good luck with these radio faces.
Hey, it hasn't stopped me. I'll say that. Thank you, KP. Appreciate it.
Of course. Take care.
Kyle Posey, everybody from Niners Nation. Doesn't get better. He is one of the all-time best. Appreciate him stopping in. I appreciate all of you spending some of your night with me and with us here. I know it's frustrating they didn't make a pick, but day 2 is going to be a ton of fun. Come back and join us for that as well. Day 3 could be hella exciting as well. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you, everybody. Could not do this without you. Go damn Niners. Let's crush day 2 and day 3 of the NFL draft and set the stage for one hell of a 2026.